Welcome to Post-Tsunami, where we talk about life after the Tsunami of Sound, a marching slash concert band at Challenge High School. And I'm here with Angel. What's up, Angel? How's it going?
Hey Duke, doing well.
It's
Angel
good.
Aragon. The G is silent sometimes.
Yeah. Go ahead and do your introduction for the
Yeah,
people who don't
so
know you.
I'm Angel. I was class of 2013. I was in band for all 4 years. Uh, I started out on trumpet, then sophomore year I played tuba. I was the low brass section leader. Junior year I became like the vice president, senior year president, and yeah, played all the brass instruments.
Yes, fully seen brass. And I was the one that taught you how to play trumpet, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. I was like your foot in the door.
Yep.
Um, Tell us about like your high school band self. Like, how are you like for the people who don't know you?
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm kind of hard to describe personally. But I have some quotes that people gave me from, let's see. These are from like my yearbook and my senior poster board.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, so uh, here's one. The names have been anonymized for the
Anonymized for
for their safety.
yeah, so we don't dox anyone here.
Yeah. So, one person said, "You are slightly scary, but bluntly funny." Uh,
That sounds
another
about
person,
right.
another person said, "I've always been too shy to talk to you." A third person said, "You kind of intimidated me, but I admired your talent from afar."
Yep.
One person said, "I remember you as an overall good guy, snarky, sarcastic, yet still
Hmm.
having childlike wonder." And then
Childlike
this is
wonder.
yeah. And then this is the longest one. I like this one. "I know you come off as a jerk sometimes, or I know you think you come off as a jerk sometimes, but what I see is
Mm,
a person with very positive intentions, just expressing them in a different and kind of aggressive way. But I
yeah.
still think it's out of a feeling of care."
Hmm.
So I
Yeah.
was like, I like that one.
Yeah, that's always interesting. There's the perception that people have of you, and then there's the perception of other people's perception of you, if that makes sense. It's like what you think people think of you.
Yeah, like I definitely know people thought of me as somebody who's like super serious and kind
Yeah.
of scary.
Yeah.
But at my heart, I just really cared about band a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I would describe myself. I was
Yeah.
really serious about band. Maybe the most serious besides
Yeah.
like you and Zandra
Yeah,
or
I
like
feel like
Lawrence.
yeah, I feel like a lot of people during our time were like very serious. Serious as in we were caring a lot about the band, like we cared about the band so much that maybe we took it a little too seriously, but I think that's a good thing in our context, considering that we were student run as well.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
that was a big
I
thing.
remember, especially since I started off, late compared to a lot of the other people.
Yeah.
My instrument skills were not as good at first, obviously.
Yeah, but
So
no, you
I
caught
took
up really
yeah
fast.
I took musicianship really seriously
Yeah.
because I was like, okay, well, if I can't play the part, I can act the part, so
Yeah.
that's probably where part of that came from.
Yeah, you're one of the few people who like really put yourself out there and really put in the effort to get like really good in really short amount of time. So I commend you
Yeah,
for that. That was
it
great.
was fun.
There's a lot of like you put in a lot of effort and a lot of work for that.
Yeah, it was easy freshman year because we had band fourth period and that went directly into lunch. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, I don't need to eat lunch. I can go
You just
practice
yeah, you just keep practicing. Yeah, those are good times. I
because
did
I
that
was like,
sometimes too.
well, everyone in my class is like 4 times as better than me. So I was like, well, I got to put in 4 times the effort.
Yeah. And then it was nice having band fourth period because for the people who don't remember the schedule or like just didn't go to CI, we had 6 periods and lunch was between fourth and fifth period. So when we had band fourth period, sometimes we would have these lunchtime rallies that we would go to. And it was perfect because fourth period we would just basically practice and then get ready for the rally. And then once lunchtime hit, bam, we were like ready to go for the rally. So that was a lot of that was really convenient for us as a band.
Yeah, and then we had zero period that year too.
Oh yeah, zero period.
We
Um,
were always like 5 minutes late to first period. It was funny.
yeah, I don't remember zero period for that year. Was this
Yeah, it
um
was your sophomore year, my freshman year. We had zero period because I remember we
oh
had Miss Adrian, me, and a bunch of the other
mhm.
freshmen for English first period. She would always give us a look because we would come in late, but then there would be like an announcer over the intercom, like, please excuse the.
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember
Or
zero
I
period.
don't. Maybe I'm making that part up, but I
I
remember we
do.
did have an excuse.
I do remember we had a zero period. It wasn't even like a zero period. It was I think it was my junior year, your sophomore year, where we had a field show, and it was like
Mhm.
that Friday we were gonna perform it, and we needed to rehearse, on the actual field for once, because I didn't want to just like, hey, we're gonna just do the rehearsal on the basketball courts, and then we're not gonna know how it feels to actually be on the football field. So I wanted to actually practice on the football field, and the only time that the football field was open was zero period, early in the morning.
Mhm.
So I remember having the band um, practice on the field one day, but that's the only zero period that I remember.
Yeah, I think we mostly did it during marching band season,
Hmm.
and it wasn't all the time. It was really just like, yeah, to get the field basically, because that's the only time it was open.
Yeah, it
And then I
was.
remember a couple of times we had jazz band in the spring zero period. That was fun.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That I remember. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Jazz band just felt more like, hey, do you want to play in this group? Like, come on in, kind of thing.
Yep. And it's like, of
Um,
course I do.
Yeah, yeah. It was just like more playing time. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I knew more like formal jazz techniques and all that. But even then, without that, I still had a lot of fun part
Yeah,
of that
I
group.
remember I studied under a jazz trumpet player when I
Hmm.
was at Ventura College,
Yeah.
Mr. Drayton.
Hmm.
And yeah, he's like a legit jazz professional.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
was just like, whoa. It was cool.
Uh
It's a
huh.
good learning experience.
What are some like jazz techniques that you learned from him? I
Jazz
guess.
techniques?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I guess some just basics that
Yeah,
you
so
remember.
basically, it's like jazz, a lot of it is improvisation.
Yeah.
It's not all free form, Anytime someone says it's about the notes you don't play, man, that's how you know they don't know what jazz is.
Yeah.
They're just talking out of their ass. But
Yeah.
having a solo, if you have an accompaniment, you could be playing by yourself, but
Hmm.
it's like having a conversation, basically.
Oh, okay. I never really
You
thought
don't,
of it like that.
yeah, you want like a beginning, a middle, and an end,
Uh huh.
and it's like about making a composition off the top of your head, but you
Uh
want
huh.
it to sound good because
Yeah.
you don't want to start a conversation like, "Hey man, I just woke up this morning and I got out of bed and then I went to the store and oh man, how are you doing? I'm doing well. How are you doing?"
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
like no one. It's like you're mush mouth, and that's not how people talk.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
So like that's a real general thing. And then I learned a lot about active listening and passive listening.
Yeah.
Like if you want to study a record, you can study so many parts of the of a particular song. Like
Hmm.
Miles Davis's like "So What" or something. You're listening to the bass, or
Hmm.
you're listening to Miles play, or you're listening to the other piano players, the other horn players. You know, there's music can be the main activity. You don't have to put it on in the
Hmm.
background. It's perfectly fine to put it on in the background while you're doing other stuff, but you can just sit there and listen to music. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's something that I definitely learned a lot about in college.
Okay, so you would say like passive listening is what I think most of us do, right? It's just kind of
Mhm.
music that we enjoy, and we're not like critically thinking about a certain part. We just kind of like listen to it and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah,
And you would say like that's passive listening versus like active listening is like you're critically thinking about or listening to like the bass part and how it integrates with like the rest of the song and how it interacts with the guitar and that sort of thing.
yeah. You don't even need to know theory because like you don't
Hmm.
have to say like, oh man, that's like oh he's using a tritone substitution right there, or it's like oh that's a really
Yeah.
cool like. It's like you don't need to know that stuff. Like I think
Yeah.
that stuff is good if you want to take it seriously.
Hmm.
If you want to be a professional, like you absolutely, need to know your theory.
Right.
But even just as like a regular person, like you or I, we have music experience. We can like, oh, I really like what the bass is doing there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a valid comment. That's
Hmm.
like a active listening comment. Like you're paying
Yeah.
attention to it.
Yeah, there are definitely some songs where I'll like, critically listen to it, and I don't remember like hearing this specific instrument coming at all. Like I didn't notice this. What? It's pretty cool like what you can listen to like once you critically listen to a song.
Yeah, like especially if stuff is like in stereo, you can like take out one
Yeah.
earphone or
Yeah.
headphone or whatever. Yeah, and it's like oh, then it forces you to listen to the other part.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know if you heard of binaural like audio. It's not really specific to music, but
Mm,
it's supposed to make you feel like you're there. Like there's
Yeah,
a binaural recording of like someone just walking through New York City, and like you can see, the cab honk their horns from like a certain, space. You can hear the people talking, the people walking, and in a specific location. Like there's a spatial like audio, and
yeah.
it's like really cool. I don't know if
Uh,
you've listened to any of the recordings.
Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with that stuff. I know Mark Cerny, he works at PlayStation. He's like one of the
Hmm.
PS4 like architects, and he's working on the
Yeah.
PS5. And that's one of the things for the PS5 is like he talked about like
Oh, okay.
digitally modeling people's ears to make like more immersive like audio and stuff.
Uh huh.
So it's like you
Yeah.
can hear in game with certain headphones, like, oh, the whatever person is on the left, they're behind something, or
Uh-huh.
it's like I heard something bounce off the floor in the distance, and yeah, that stuff's real cool. Acoustics, way over my head, but I have an appreciation for it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And imagine playing like a video game or watching a movie without audio. I think it's something that I think it's something that we don't really pay attention to because I think the visuals stand out more like as a moviegoer or like as a video game person. But without audio, it would just kill the experience. It would
There
just feel
actually
awkward.
was that recent Mummy movie with I think it was like Tom Cruise.
Hmm.
There was a cut of the trailer that made it out without I think any sound effects.
Uh-huh.
So like I think it just had like the voiceovers.
Yeah.
So like you would see Tom Cruise like bump into like a plane, he'd go like ugh, and you wouldn't hear anything else, and it was just like, oh, this sounds so dead. Like it just kills your immersion. Even if you don't
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
you're like immersed in it, you're
Exactly.
watching it and you just like, oh, this is fake. Like this isn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cool. It's crazy how much like audio makes, that experience for a movie or a video game.
Yeah, and then Universal like DMCA'd that that trailer. Like no, don't watch it
Don't watch it.
because people put it up like on Twitter and stuff, and it got immediately taken down because Universal's like, oh no, that was
Oh,
a
I
bad
see.
cut.
Oh, I see. Um, cool. Anyways, let's go into the band memories or the cheeseman or any stories that we have.
Mhm.
So is there anything that like comes to mind immediately? They're like, oh God, we gotta tell the story.
Yeah, so my band origin story is pretty interesting.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, let's do that. The band
So
origin story, like Aragon.
yeah, I don't know how. Yeah,
That's the
you can
tale of the
call it a
movie.
super villain origin story, superhero
Yeah,
origin story, whatever.
yeah,
So I started off in band in fourth grade, like a lot of other people
yeah.
of around my age did. I was at Hathaway Elementary with like
Mhm.
RJ and Andrew and Lawrence, like Aaronell, a lot of other people. And I was there for fourth grade. I played the trumpet. We were all bad at it, bad at your instrument.
Yeah.
And then after fourth grade, I moved to Bakersfield for a year,
Oh,
and then
okay.
I ended up coming back, to Oxnards for sixth grade.
Uh-huh.
But in that year, I was at a different elementary school. Different people. I had a different music teacher because I was in band over there. But I don't know. I was just really nervous, I guess, and then that would manifest in my trumpet playing.
Hmm.
And I just couldn't play trumpet well because the band teacher was like, he's just really mean, like for an elementary
Oh,
band teacher.
yeah.
And like he was like, you're so bad at this, and he gave me like a baritone. He's like, you're playing this now, and I was just
What?
like, and I just like felt ashamed because it was like this concert baritone, like this ugly
Yeah,
case, and I had to lug it around. And
yeah.
like after I moved back from Bakersfield, I didn't want to be doing music anymore because I had such a bad experience with him.
Right, right,
So I was
right.
just like, I was just like, I'm not listening to music anymore. I'm not playing music. I was like, I'm done. I'm just like, I'm done.
Yeah, that sounds like if you're a band director, I think you want to be as encouraging for like little kids because remember we're probably like what's like 10, 11 at that time.
Yeah, I was
Um,
10, and it's hard to remember, how actually mean he was, and how much of it was
yeah,
just my circumstances, and how much I'm remembering or not remembering. But I
yeah,
remember he gave me like a lot of anxiety, even like as a poor
yeah.
little 10-year-old.
Hmm.
So I was like kind of scarred off of music for a long time.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
in sixth grade, I went back. I couldn't go to Hathaway, so I went to
Hmm.
Blackstock for sixth grade instead.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
everybody, all my friends were all at Hathaway still,
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because back
except for
then,
like me and Jose, I think.
yeah, back then they had that weird thing where for sixth grade only half the people stayed at the elementary school and the other half went to Blackstock. I was one of
Yeah,
the kids that went to Blackstock.
yeah, me
So
too.
I don't know, it was weird. Like half of our friends were just like we wouldn't see them for a year, I guess, at
Yep.
school at least.
Yeah, and at Blackstock in sixth grade, that's where I made friends with like Taylor
Hmm.
and like Mark Galimba and a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
I knew Patty briefly from back then. She was in a different class, but
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. So that's why like I knew a lot of the band people even before
Hmm.
coming into CI's band. And I just didn't do band at middle school at all. I was just like, nope. I was like, no one's gonna ask me about it, so I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then fast forward to the end of middle school, we're supposed to do your orientations and blah blah blah, go to high school. I was originally supposed to go to Wainimi,
Uh-huh.
even though like I could cross the street to my friend's house and he would go to CI just
Mhm.
because of the way districting worked. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what? This
yeah.
is messed up. I was like, this is awful. So we eventually figure out we move basically, and then because we were just going to move at that time anyways,
Mhm.
and then I was able to go to CI based off of that new address.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah.
But they didn't have all my transfer info when I started school, so I was
Mhm.
able to enroll and everything. But for whatever reason, they just didn't have any of my files, so I had like all just generic classes. So like
Oh, okay.
it wasn't based off of my test scores or anything. Like they would place you in honors or whatever, or like
Yeah.
college prep or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
or like remedial even. So they just gave me baseline everything. So for the first 2 weeks of high school, I actually had the wrong schedule, but I was an official student.
Oh, okay. That was kind of
And
like
then
Patty's situation, I think.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
eventually they were able to like get my data. I don't know why it took them so long, but
Mhm.
I talked to I think it was Mr. Cozen, the counselor.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I had Mr. Cozen too. He's a really good counselor. I like
Yeah,
him.
he was awesome. Like
Yeah.
he was real understanding. He's like, oh yeah, I can help you. And then he's like, oh well, we got to pick you electives. He was like, how about art? And I was like, okay, art. And he's like, all right, and you have room for another elective. And then I just remembered my mom telling me, like, she was just like really adamant, like, you have to join a
Mhm.
club, you have to do something. Like, you're not going to sit at home after coming
Yeah,
after
yeah.
school. Like, you're not going to be part of the going home club.
Mhm.
And I remember at that time, Jose had accidentally got put into band.
Is
Jose Asistio.
is this okay? Yeah.
Yeah, because he was my friend from elementary school, and I
Uh-huh.
was like, he doesn't play an instrument. I was like, why is he in band? I was like, that's so random.
Turns out he's like one of the best sax players in the band. Like,
I know.
without even
Yeah, fast
trying.
forward. Yeah. Yeah, we taught him trombone in like a day, and we were just like, you're like a savant, Jose. You're like a genius, but okay. But yeah, so I was like, can I join band? Because all of my friends were in band. I was like, why not? Like, just screw it. And he was like, we usually don't put people in like midway. He's like, go ask Mr. Terrell right now.
Yeah, why not?
So I just went to Mr. Terrell's office,
Yeah.
or his classroom, and he had a singing class at the time. I think at that point,
A singing class. That's
or,
CI?
yeah, or like they were doing singing. I don't know if it was maybe the guitar class or something, but they were
Oh,
singing
okay.
that day for whatever reason.
Oh, okay.
But everyone was too shy or something to sing.
Oh, I see.
So I was talking to him. He's like, you know what? How about you sing for me? I'm going to sing you a note, and I want you to sing it back. And I was like,
Mhm.
what? I was like, okay. So he was like, bah, and I would go like, bah. And then we just did that a couple of times. He's like,
Yeah.
I like your gumption. You can join the band.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I find with singing, the way to overcome like the fear of singing is that you have to treat your voice like an instrument and not like
Mhm.
you as a person. Like you have to separate that.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it was just me walking into that with like no context in front of a class of like other freshmen. I was just like, okay, like, I
yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. And he was like, yeah, you can join. Go tell the counselor it's fine. I was like, cool.
Yeah, I think you just showed up the band one day. I was like,
Yeah, and then literally that day, I remember I made like a surprise entrance. And then like you just see like all the freshmen like, wait, what? Why are you? Because
Angel?
they all know me. Yeah, like why are
Ariel?
you here? And I'm like, surprise.
Yeah. Did you go to band camp that summer before?
No, I did not.
You didn't? Okay.
Yeah, I was when we were in the process of moving, my grandparents, they had lived in the apartment they were living in for like 30 years basically. And then they got a new landlord, and then he evicted everybody
Oh,
from the
feels
apartment. So
bad.
yeah, so it was just like, you have 3 months, bye.
Uh-huh.
So that summer we spent, the 3 months looking for a place and helping move. And they had a garage, with 30 years worth of crap, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it was not a fun summer.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Moving is hard.
Yeah, I've moved like 14 times in my life. I counted. So
Yeah,
it
like
is what it
actually
is.
14 times.
Yeah, actually 14 times. I haven't lived in 14 different places. A lot of it was
Yeah.
moving, back and forth to the same place
Yeah, yeah.
from a different place, but
Mhm.
I've moved like 14 times.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's how I got into band. and then because I still had my trumpet and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then yeah, that's when we started like the newbie band, and you were in charge of us.
Oh yeah, the newbie band. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, we had so many new people that we could make like a newbie band,
Hmm.
like a JV band, I guess.
Yeah, JV
I don't
band.
know what
Yeah.
you call
Yeah.
a JV slash newbie band. Yeah, we played. We had some like easier concert pieces. What was the easy concert piece? I have my band folder like next to me. I could probably
We
pull
had
that up.
a Scarborough Fair,
Yeah, that
and
was a
like
big one. That
there
was
was
the
like just I think it was like no fair at all, or just not fair. I forget what it was called. It also had fair in the name.
Yeah, yeah. I just remember Scarborough Fair. Like that was kind of like the newbie
Yeah.
bands,
I
piece.
remember Kevin made me play first trumpet all night. He's like, "You're gonna do it." I
Yeah.
was like, "What?"
What?
He's like, it's your piece. You're gonna do it." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah. It's not too bad. I think it's a relatively easy piece. But I
Yeah.
remember Kevin just pushing everyone like in a good way. Like
Hmm.
I think he would always push me, and at the time I would feel like really uncomfortable, but it definitely makes you like a better player when you push yourself.
Yeah, I remember when we played "Music of the Beatles." He like sat me down and he's
Yeah,
like, "Yeah, we're gonna listen to all the Beatles songs, so you have like a
some context.
some context for
Yeah.
it." And then like he's like, "Yeah, I'll walk you through it." He's like, I'll work with you." And I remember that was just really nice of him.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, that's yeah, I joined dramatically because I can never do anything the easy way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I just like showed out of nowhere, like I'm here now.
Hmm.
Hello. Yeah, and then I guess sophomore year, we didn't have any tuba players, so that's when I taught myself to play tuba, like
Yeah.
second semester of my freshman year. Towards the end of that, I was just like, I'm teaching myself to read bass clef, teaching myself
Uh-huh.
to play tuba. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fun.
bass clef never stuck with me. Like every time I would learn it, I would just forget it, just because I don't use it that much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got good enough where I can like transpose between bass clef and
yeah,
treble
that's good.
clef, and then bass clef and like E flat and C and
Hmm.
F, and yeah, that taught me how to transpose. I learned some basic music theory like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
And then it was funny because like going into band camp, we still didn't have a low brass section leader. It
Yeah,
was like Vince doing a lot of that.
yeah, because the moment when Vince left, low brass was just kind of in limbo.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
because it's
it
like
was
it
just a
was
bunch
like
of newbies.
yeah, it was just like me, Sean, and then like Brandon.
Yeah. And so I was like, all right, let's just make you and Brandon the section leader as like co-section leaders, since like low brass is big enough to do that.
Yeah,
Um
and that's how that happened.
yeah, that's how that happened. And I think it worked pretty well. I mean, you guys
Yeah,
got along, so no
yeah,
complaints.
yeah. No, we were never at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
No,
good.
I actually used to be really mean to Brandon in
Oh,
middle school,
really?
but yeah, no, I've apologized to him.
Mm.
Sorry, Brandon. We were all jerks in middle school. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't he get banned bully? The banned bully superlative?
I never understood that. I was like, It's like he's a nice guy.
Yeah, it was like it was him and Marcel. Like I could understand Marcel, but why
Yeah,
Brandon?
yeah. I was like, Brand, like we never bullied our section. We were like the chillest section.
Yeah.
Low brass. We were always just like the sturdiest one. Like we're just cool. Like yeah,
Yeah, you guys are that foundation. Right?
yeah, yeah. So sophomore, I became tuba section leader, low brass co-section leader.
Mhm.
And junior year, I became like vice president. And then the way I became president was really funny too, because one time we were just because we'd have people hang out in the band room at lunch, and we were all
Yeah.
playing like our 3DSs, and we were just being real loud.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Terrell calls me over, and I was just like, "Oh man, we were being too loud." I was like, "Oh crap!" I was just ready to apologize to Mr. Terrell, like, "I'm sorry, like we won't do this again. Like I'm sorry for being loud." He's like, "Hey Angel, you want to be president next year?"
That
And I was
sounds
like,
like Terrell.
"Yeah." I was just like, "Okay." Yeah, because I was already vice president at that point, and that's how
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah, easy clap, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then I did like the first day or two of drum major tryouts,
Mhm.
because I was like, maybe I'll do this. But then I saw Lawrence doing it, and he's like, you know what? I was like, I think Lawrence would be better at it than me.
Mhm.
And I was like, I also like playing my instrument, because I remember you would tell me
Yeah.
like, I'm too busy directing to get to play. So I was like, you know what? I like playing. So
Yeah, exactly. I feel like in high school I didn't really get to play that much, and that's honestly one of the things that I kind of missed out on, I feel like, just because I was always conducting or just doing something
mhm.
administrative wise. So when I got to college, I was like, I don't want to do any leadership positions. I want to play my trumpet. So
Yep.
I made it a point to not do any leadership positions, just play, just be part of the bands, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Like I just saw Lawrence at that time, and like I had a couple of other people tell me like, oh, I think you'd be a good drum major or
Hmm.
something. I was like, ah, maybe, but I was like, I'm not. How do I put this? I don't like being like first in command. I like
Hmm.
being second in command.
Yeah, yeah. Because you
Yeah.
you still have control, but you don't have all of like the weight on your shoulders of like responsibility or
Yeah.
the
And even
consequences.
yeah, even when I was like getting higher positions in the band, it wasn't
Mhm.
like I want all the power. It was like I just really like playing music and I like taking this as seriously as I can.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like I think Lawrence would be a better face for the band, and I'm like people like
Hmm.
Lawrence more than they like me. Uh, and I was like yeah, and so I just thought it was a naturally better fit.
Okay.
Lo and
Yeah.
behold, got it. Yeah, I don't know if you even remember me being there the first day or not.
I don't I don't remember
Yeah,
honestly.
it's fine.
Who else tried out? It was I remember Patty tried
Uh,
out twice.
yeah, Patty
Um
was there. There was like an incoming freshman. They were in middle school at the time, but I think they were going to come. Uh,
Megan?
yeah, I think it was Megan.
It was like it was Kimberly's sister, like younger
Yeah, yeah,
sister.
Kimberly's sister. Yeah.
Yeah. Um
Uh, yeah. I think Myra might have been there. I don't remember that well.
yeah, it's that area's kind of fuzzy.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
remember seeing. Oh, I think Paul did try out actually that year as well.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
feels bad. Like Lawrence got it. Like in
yeah,
retrospect, maybe I should have picked Paul because I remember when I heard about Lawrence's leadership, like he was going through a lot of personal things, so he wasn't there a
yeah.
lot of the time. Um
Yeah, Lawrence and I, we've talked about this like as
mhm.
adults since then. And like I remember we hadn't seen each other in a few years, and then like just
Yeah.
like a couple years ago we had saw each other,
Yeah.
and he was just like apologizing for that, and I was just like, oh, it's like water under the bridge, man. I was like, I never held it against you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
not being there. I was like, we were all teenagers, like who cares? Like it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you're going through stuff, we can't change that. So,
Yeah, totally. And then
um,
if anything, I regret because I was president. I regret not being stepping up a little bit more to hold
mhm.
things accountable. Because like we held things together, Paul and I, because Paul was
Yeah,
assistant drum major,
yeah, yeah,
but like we weren't like there wasn't really a figurehead basically. Like
yeah,
administratively, I was running a lot of things, on Lawrence's behalf.
yeah.
Like basically in me in the leadership meetings or whatever, just me saying no to people's bad ideas and stuff. But that was
Wait,
the fun. That
what?
was the fun part of being president.
What are? Do you remember some of these bad ideas?
No, just like we would have fundraising ideas, and I was like, "That's not realistic." I'm like, "That wouldn't work. That wouldn't work." And they're like, "How about we
Mhm.
do this?" And like, actually, I don't like that idea, but it's a good idea, so let's go with it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's
I tried to be impartial.
yeah. It's like, what do you think about this trip to Germany? You remember that?
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
And Terrell's like pretty ambitious, sometimes. There was that one year, I think it was the year going into your junior year, I think,
Yeah.
or your sophomore year. Terrell wanted to go to Germany, like we're gonna fundraise all this money and we're gonna go to Germany. That never
Yep, I
happened.
remember that.
Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we
That.
like
Yeah.
we can barely fundraise for like a bus. Like how can we fundraise to go like halfway across the world?
Yeah. That was one thing. I always admired about other bands, especially like Oxnard.
Yeah.
Like they were like really organized, and
Yeah.
Mr. Lejean actually he was friends with my college trumpet teacher, Mr.
Hmm.
Drayton, and he played with the jazz band a couple of times because
Oh
we had
yeah,
a
yeah.
French horn player, so
Hmm.
he would be the substitute every now and
Oh,
then.
okay, cool.
So it was cool just seeing Mr. Lejean play French horn and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, in like junior year, I had like an epiphany about the band, and I was like, you kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like not that
Yeah.
everyone's bad, but I was just like, you could be a lot better if everyone took it more seriously. But
Yeah.
I just realized at the time I was like, everyone's not here to like take it seriously. Some people are here to have fun.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like you can play music and have fun, or you can have fun and play music. And I think most people were
Yeah.
there to have fun and play music, and that's not a bad thing. But like personally, I had to like at the time I had to come to terms with that. I was just like, okay, I'll be
Yeah.
the best I can be, and you know I'll try to bring up people around me. But I was like, as a collective, I was just like, we're not gonna we're not gonna be the
Yeah,
best.
I think considering our resources and our talent and whatever else CI had, like we were a pretty good band for what we had. Um
Definitely. But
um
one year in our senior year, we had a substitute because Terrell was out.
yeah.
Mr. What's his name? Mr. Bodie, I forget his name. He used to be the director at Wynemi's band.
Mhm.
And he was like retired, but he was doing substitute teaching.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
he was with us for like a week or two, and like he was just like, because he was just really different from Terrell, and like everybody was a little scared of him because he was like strict. So
Yeah.
but we sounded like amazing.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay. It was like everybody just kind of has to have the right mentality, and like we could sound, so much better. But like
Yeah.
like at that point,
Yeah.
I realized I was like, okay, everybody is not here for that. So I was like, that's fine. It was a kind of like a bittersweet thing. Like, fine, I'll begrudgingly do this, but
Yeah. Yeah, because when I look at other high school bands, I'm like, damn, that could have been us. you know?
yeah, yeah. And it's like it's not something I hold over people because it's like
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
everyone has their own reasons for. Not everyone was as driven as
Right.
a
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah.
Specifically, I remember it's the people who would always do cleanup. So like you,
Oh, yeah,
me,
yeah.
Zandro,
Yep.
Amaro, RJ, Lawrence, and like Ray, some other people, Paul.
Yeah.
It's like those were the people helping set up and take down, and those are the people who took things, seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, not everyone's on board. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think considering that we were student run, I think we did a fairly like good job, I guess
yeah,
music wise. Because I feel like if it's student run, that could be a disaster. Just think about it. A teenager like running other teenagers. It's just that sounds like a recipe for disaster. But I think we did a good job like keeping it together.
yeah, because we had people at the top who were like pretty serious about it,
Yeah.
and then the people who weren't at the top generally respected their section leaders
Yeah.
or people in charge, so
Hmm.
we got along pretty well. And that's what I really liked when you became drum major. Like you kind of put in place all that administrative stuff, and we carried that
Yeah.
on after you left, and so we were used
Yeah.
to holding leadership meetings or section leader meetings or combined band officers and section leaders, and then leadership together, officers and section
Yeah.
leaders with the drumline captains and stuff like that. And yeah, that
Yeah.
stuff is cool.
Because before then that wasn't really in place, and I knew that the band was growing like really fast. Considering like your class was like massive, it's like, oh crap! Like we can't just have three people running the show. That's like borderline dictatorship. So, I don't know if a lot of people are gonna go with that. Like you could do that with a group of like 20, 25 people, and it's fine.
Yeah,
But like with a group of like 50, 60 people, like I don't think that's gonna fly. So I figured we should have like a leadership group. We should
I
have section
remember
leaders.
as what was it, as freshmen, like Lawrence and I,
Mhm.
we kind of made a promise to each other, like, all right, you and me, buddy, we're gonna get to the top.
Yeah.
And then we actually did it. So I was like, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because we were just really inspired by
Mhm.
Julian, Eduardo, and Vince.
Exactly. Yeah, they were such
Yeah,
big role models.
yeah,
It's like, damn, I want to be like them, like in terms of like leadership and like goals and musicianship and all that stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was just like, so Lawrence and I were like, yeah, we'll do it, and then we did.
Yep. Yep.
It was fun. Yeah, we didn't didn't do it as well. I don't, in my opinion, but we tried.
Yeah, so for me, I kind of like stayed hands off senior year. I don't remember that much regarding like your senior year. So like, can you talk about like your senior year, like anything that stuck out to you? Any cool events, any drama, I guess, that occurred
Yeah,
senior
I
year?
don't remember drama, but yeah, I just remember Lawrence had his personal stuff going on, and
Yeah.
then so it was kind of up to me and Paul being at the top then,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to overstep any boundaries because I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
Lawrence, like I'm not I was like, I don't want to feel like I'm Lawrence's substitute. And also, I was like, Paul could use the experience for
Oh yeah, yeah.
his incoming year. So I kind of just played support for Paul,
Hmm.
and gave Paul advice. I was the Dick Cheney to his George W. Bush, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. I would imagine Lawrence being gone. It's kind of like having a sub, like with Paul there. It's just like having a sub in your class all the time, right?
Yeah, like we were able to hold things together, but like you could tell we had fallen off ever so slightly from the prior year, which is why I would consider junior year like my favorite year.
Hmm.
Just because musically we were like really good, academically I was doing pretty well at that time.
Yeah.
Like I had a lot of fun my senior year, but yeah, it was interesting. Like what was I gonna say? Yeah, I do kind of regret not stepping up a bit more to help,
Hmm.
in Lawrence's absence. And it's not like he wasn't there all the time. Like he was there a lot. It's just sometimes he was just gone for personal reasons. And
Yeah.
no one should hold that against him.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But senior year was pretty fun. Like I remember that year, like there were people like who just didn't have the band class because they were focusing on finishing up their college prep or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I was like, I have to like play tuba for concerts band. I was like, okay. I was like, fine, I'll play because at that point I was kind of bored with tuba because a lot of the pieces we played just had boring tuba parts.
Yeah.
Which is funny because
I
now I
don't blame
really
you.
appreciate tuba and I miss playing tuba.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know how good I had it.
Yeah. 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 I can.
And I
I mean,
got to use the big the Yamaha concert tuba, that big thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that thing was awesome.
I could see why the tuba part can be boring because I feel like I don't know, most of the time you're playing like just quarter or eighth notes. It's like nothing too complicated.
Yeah, and once you get to like the collegiate level and stuff,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
there's way more interesting stuff. But just like the
Yeah.
level of music we were playing for tuba, it was just not very fun for me.
Right.
So that's why I would play trombone a lot of the time
Uh-huh.
if we had the other tuba players there. So, and then Brandon was like playing baritone because I think he was getting bored of trombone.
Oh.
That's because he had played trombone parts for so long.
Yeah.
So it's like playing
Yeah.
the same old trombone parts for like marching band every year. It's like it gets on you.
Yeah. That's why I try to keep it interesting with like new pieces. That's why I got like Take On Me from UCSD and some other pieces from there.
Buddy Holly.
From Buddy Holly. There was that big Real Fish song that we never got to play, but I have it.
Yeah, it's
What
what is
song
it? She's Famous Now.
Yeah, I
That's a
have
good
that
song.
song. Yeah, it's a good song.
Yeah.
I have it. It's just we never really got to play it, and it was on the harder end. So I think it definitely required some, more time and diligence.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool because I really liked. I still like ska music, but that was like my first foray back into music because
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to music really until I started high school.
Uh-huh.
So that's where I formed a lot of my musical taste was in high school.
Yeah.
And ska was just something I naturally was drawn towards because I was like, oh, it's got horns. I play one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of relate to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like for back on active listening, that was like everything has a clear part. The guitar is doing upstrokes and stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and then the bass has the bass line, and then the horns have their horn part. And then maybe there's a keyboard and there's usually a singer, but not all the time.
Mhm.
So then it's just easy to pick out all the different parts. So it's like, okay, now I can listen to the horns this time. Now I can listen to the blah 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 this time. And so that kind of like indirectly taught me about like active listening too. So cool stuff.
Yeah, Skull's pretty cool. I'd never like I don't actively listen to it now, but I always appreciate it because it has like the horns.
I remember every now and then you'd play like a Streetlight Manifesto song. I was like, yeah, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, it's like Streetlight Manifesto, Big Real Fish are like the two ska bands that I think of.
Yeah. Another thing I remember from high school was DA, Disgruntled Avians.
Oh yes, DA.
Julian's
I never really
project.
thought about it. That could be its own podcast. Like honestly,
That would be funny. Yeah.
yeah.
That was a good time. That we had a great time.
Yeah, what I remember from DA, I remember being like really nervous. It's just performance anxiety. Like I could play the part.
Yeah.
But when we actually play, I don't know, it was rough. Like I remember.
Yeah, because you were like a boy band, so it's like your part is your part.
Yeah.
You can't hide behind your section because you are the section.
Exactly. Yeah, you can't rely on anyone. It's just you. And I remember at 805's Got Talent, when we performed. I forgot what song we played. I think it was
I think we
the
played "I Want It
Backstreet
That
Boy.
Way."
Yeah, it was that one Backstreet Boy song. I think I
We might have
messed up
played
my
another.
part.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I honestly I don't remember. Like I pushed it out of my memory because I knew I messed up, and so I didn't want to relive that like part of me like screwing up. And to this day, I haven't seen the recording of the performance. So
Yeah, don't
um
watch the ones of us playing in the band room. Like I've listened to that one.
yeah.
I was playing, like, my tone was awful because I was playing the sousaphone. It was just like, nah, it's not good.
Yeah, I actually re-listened to that one like kind of recently since I uploaded those.
Oh, okay.
I think we sound all right. Considering that like, it was also Bandcamp after
Yeah,
Bandcamp, and we were
yeah,
very tired. So
yeah.
I think that's really understandable. You know, we got to play like all these songs. We're super tired, dry mouth
Remember
and
we
everything.
recorded a firework for Katy Perry?
Yeah, yeah,
I think that was probably our best song, "Firework." Like, we played that one the best.
yeah. I
That one, and
remember.
then the "Spirited Away" song.
Yeah, I had Julian play that song just
Yeah,
because I was like so tired.
yeah.
Yeah, because my range is not
Those.
that great.
Yeah,
But I had Julian play that song to give me a break.
yeah,
Because the trumpet part's it's fairly like you're playing through the whole thing. It's like you don't have a break.
yeah. You're the main melody,
Yeah,
and then at
exactly.
the chorus or whatever, you have the alto sax playing the harmony. But yeah, it's all on you.
Yeah, yeah,
Like trombone and tenor are just doing the background parts, and then
yeah.
tuba's strictly the bass. It wasn't like the other ones where we would trade
Mhm.
off sometimes. It was like, no, this is 100 trumpet.
Yeah, I feel like as a trumpet player, you need that break to
Yeah,
give your chops a rest because it can get pretty tiring.
yeah. That's something I had fun playing. Like, as an alumni, going to like homecoming, like playing with Frank. He was a
Yeah, that was always a lot
freshman.
of
He was
fun.
a freshman when I was a senior.
Yeah,
But then, at the point where we were both graduated, we'd both go to the alumni things, and we just like dick around
oh
playing
man, I
like
love
first
it.
trumpet parts. So I
Yeah,
was just like, all right, Frank, you play the high notes, and I'll play the real stuff. And then it's like, okay, Frank,
yeah.
now I play the high notes, and you play the real stuff.
Yeah. Those always like homecoming is always really fun. That can be its own
Yeah.
topic, but homecoming is fun because we can kind of do the things that we never got to do in high school, I guess, if you know
I,
what I
I
mean.
I remember the year after we graduated, when we went back
Yeah,
from homecoming, we played "Take on Me," and then
yeah,
like Lawrence, RJ, Andrew, and I went to the front where like Paul was conducting in the
yeah,
stands, and
yeah,
then like I played the octave part, so I hit the really
yeah,
high note,
yeah.
like in the actual song on trumpet. And I
Uh-huh.
was just like, yeah, this is awesome. It's
Yeah.
like no one can tell me.
Yeah, no one can
I'm,
tell you what to do. You're alumni. So it's
and Paul
great.
was like, yeah, go for it, man. I was just like, hell yeah.
Yes. That's the dream. Um
It was funny because like I went to every homecoming and graduation since I graduated. So like I would see like freshmen that I didn't know, and then and then eventually they would have joined the alumni band. I was just like,
mhm.
whoa, whoa, been here for a while.
Yeah, it's funny. The alumni band, it's we kind of like transcend the I guess the high school like I don't know experience. Where like
Yeah,
you are like if you're a senior, then if you meet a freshman, you're only gonna know them for that year. But like once you're alumni, like doesn't matter what year you graduated from, like what you play, like time is non-existent as adults.
yeah,
Um, we don't have like
yeah,
that level system.
yeah. And I tried to be really hands off. Like when I was like, I'm just here to play music. Like you don't need my like if you want my advice, you can ask me. But I'm like, I'm just like cool. I'm just a visitor.
Yeah, exactly. As an alumni, you don't want to be too like in the current band's face,
Yeah,
you know. There's like a very fine line between like helping them and just being patronizing. So
yeah,
I try not to be like too patronizing.
yeah. I always tried to just be good with them and stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
what was it? Weren't we banned one year?
Wait, what?
Weren't we banned? Like alumni were banned from the banquet or something. What?
Oh
Something.
yeah, there's that whole drama. It was my brother's senior year, which is like 2014, 2015.
Yeah. Okay.
And I forgot what happened, but
I
oh, I think what happened was that like drumline. I don't remember the story specifically. So someone could be yelling at me, secretly. But what happened was that drumline they didn't like it, and they didn't like a certain drumline alumni. So instead of just
Oh
telling them
wow.
not to go, they just straight up banned all alumni as like a nuclear option.
Yeah, you see,
you
I
know?
thought it was something I had said. That's what I always had
Oh
thought. I
no
was
no
just like,
no.
because I remember, I think that was a point of contention. Like, I think someone I
Mhm.
remember on the alumni group is like, Angel called us a bunch of kids or something, and then someone
Yeah.
commented like he would do that when he was in high school, and I was like, hell yeah, that's me.
Oh yeah. I remember that too. I think that was a separate issue. But before I get to that, yeah, that was the reason why like all the alumni were banned from the banquet, was because this drumline alumni wasn't liked by the current drumline
Mm,
people. So we're like, all right, let's just ban everyone so that we don't actually have to like say it in their face we don't like them.
yeah,
But then that causes all the bunch of issues because I'm like, yo, I'm Kevin's brother. Like, I can't
yeah,
even go to his like own banquet. What the hell?
yeah.
Yeah. So
That blew over though pretty quick from what I
yeah, that blew
remember.
over pretty quick. Um,
That was funny.
yeah, regarding the kid stuff, yeah, someone got offended by that, but you gotta think of it like as if you're the older person, everyone under you is a kid. Like it doesn't matter what age. Like
Yeah, I would have said that if I was in their class probably.
yeah
Because
yeah
that's what someone else said. Like he was doing that when he was in there. I was
hmm
like, yeah, yeah.
yeah
Come at
that's
me. Play me your major skills. We'll talk.
yeah
I was like, I bet you can't.
yeah, because I'm in the Ventura County concert band, and everyone there calls me a kid because I'm like one of the younger folks.
Mhm.
So I think age is all relative. We don't mean it to like offend you or like to like put you in your place or something like that. It's just like you're younger than us. You guys are kids. That's it. There's no
Yeah, and
like,
then I think, and then after all those people graduated, what do you know? Never a problem.
yeah, no, right? And
What do
then
you know?
yeah, and then like some of them ended up like being part of the alumni band, which is like kind of funny.
What do you know? Never a
What do you
problem.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember last year at homecoming, like a bunch of the current low brass, like they all wanted to take a picture with me and stuff. I was like, "What? You know who I am?" I was like, "What?" It's like, "What?"
We've been immortalized like people know. Yeah, that's always weird. Like people know who you are, but it's been like literally 5 years since you graduated. It's like what? Hello.
Yeah, like uh, God, there was like this one tuba player. I remember he would come by sometimes and play with us, and he was always really nice. And he had graduated like a year or two before us. I think you knew him, but I don't remember his name. But he was like a really cool guy, and you play tuba.
Oh, what was his
Wasn't like
name?
Felipe, I don't think, but
There was, I don't know if we're thinking of the same guy, but there was this old sousaphone player that would come by and we nicknamed like him the Iron Lung. He
mm.
was like, I think he was like 2 years younger than Vince. I forgot his name, but he was a really good sousaphone slash tuba player.
Yeah, I
But
think it was probably that guy. And he was always really nice. And he's like, "Oh yeah, just tell
yeah,
me what to do." He was like, "Tell me where to play." I was like, "Cool, man. Like, thanks for helping us."
yeah. There was also that other old alumni. I think he graduated in 2000, and he was a trombone player. He came and visited us and played with us, just randomly a couple times. I forgot his name, but yeah,
Yeah,
he was a trombone player. He was like I think his name was Jesus. But
yeah. I remember.
yeah.
I remember Jesus. He went to UCLA band day with us. I think at one point.
Oh yeah. He's
Yeah,
a really good trombone player.
yeah. He was really
Really,
cool. I remember watching
yeah,
him march, and I was just like, "Oh, this guy's cool."
yeah. This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah, like he could march and
Yeah.
like play like flawlessly, and I was just like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yes. Let's see. What else about Homecoming? Um,
I like making the super arc, the god arc with
yeah,
all the squads.
yeah. Yeah, I remember like if you were on a certain side, you couldn't see the fireworks and that kind of sucks.
I think at one point, like I think you gave us like a parade rest thing, so everyone could turn their heads.
Oh yeah,
Because
yeah.
you were like, I'm gonna let you go to parade rest, and I'm gonna let you turn your heads.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was like you or Lawrence or Paul. Someone did that.
Someone did
So,
that. Yeah.
so
I
everybody
remember
could see
that.
the firework, because it was just kind of
Yeah.
sad, just like standing there at attention.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I kind of wished I kind of loosened on, were like how serious drill commands were, because I think being part of college band, we didn't really take drill commands. We didn't do drill commands like at all. Like we were just kind of
Yeah,
there to play.
yeah,
So I think um as as a high school band, I think that's one of the things I would have like toned down a little bit, was the seriousness of like drill stuff.
yeah. I never liked that stuff. Like I won like
Yeah.
one or two drill downs,
Uh-huh.
but I was never one of the people in my class winning like all the drill downs. Because I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like the military stuff. I was like, we're playing music.
Yeah.
We don't have guns.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's more of like a traditional thing. Like,
Yeah, yeah, it's
people
fun.
people in old bands, did it, so we just kind of like carry on. And
Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't like hate it or anything, but I was like, all
Yeah.
right, this is kind of corny, but I'll go along with it.
Yeah, I thought it was okay.
Yeah,
I mean, as the person giving the commands, like, okay, there were some times where we would do by the numbers, and I would just straight up forget the commands I said. So I would say like canceling all previous commands because I just forgot.
yeah,
I
those are
remember
funny.
that.
It's
I
like right
remember.
oblique, left oblique, left oblique, right oblique.
Oh crap! What was the second
About face.
command? Oh man, I remember that. That was kind of. But I didn't tell anyone. Like I didn't tell anyone that I forgot it. I'm just like, oh crap, I forgot. I forgot the second command. I'm just
Yeah,
gonna cancel the commands.
yeah,
No
but,
one's gonna
but that was
notice.
like a fun part of band camp though. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't hate it.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Germany would like win all of them. Like she was
yeah, I
drill
remember
down like
she was
master.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember like Marcel was pretty good.
yeah,
Lawrence, yeah. I remember you were pretty good. Like if you would give it to someone else to take over or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was also that one time where like Julie and I had like a drill down, like a drill down off. Like he just came back from Spain. It's this video is on the Facebook band page. Um but yeah, I think I lost the one because someone said to do like a left haste or a left oblique, and I did the opposite. So if it was a left oblique, I did a left haste, or if it was a left
Yeah,
oblique, I
yeah.
did the left haste version, and that's where I lost. So I was like, damn it.
Yeah, I remember running, or not running, but just like the social media, like the Facebook page. Like that was always really fun.
Yeah,
Like
I liked
posting videos and
managing.
stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
liked managing that page.
it was
It
fun,
was,
and like it was really funny. Like for like a few years after you and I had graduated,
mhm.
just seeing like the current band run it, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're so good at social media now. These kids,
Yeah,
I'm like they're
exactly.
way better at it than we were.
Yo, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think when we started, Facebook was fairly new. Like it was still an up and
Yeah,
coming platform.
yeah.
Um,
It had been around for a bit, but it wasn't like the global whatever it is now. You know.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like yeah, there was a time when our parents weren't on Facebook. That was,
Yeah,
that's all.
definitely.
Yeah. I think nowadays more people are using like Twitter and Instagram. I feel like
Yeah, yeah, they're
those are
on
the bigger
Twitter and
platforms.
Instagram. Yeah, the kids aren't on Facebook. They're on whatever
Yeah.
TikTok and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. We're basically boomers now at this point.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
last year one of the seniors like is like, "You're old." I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "You're 18. You're old."
You're That's true.
It's like I'm 25. I'm like, "Shut up."
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, like as an 18-year-old, when you look at a 25, like that's 7 years in the future. That seems so far away. But as a
Yeah,
25-year-old looking back at 18, like that seems so like that seemed like yesterday. You
yeah,
know? Yeah,
yeah. I wasn't like mad at him, but I was like, "Oh, this is cute." I was like, "You'll be
that's
here one
cute.
day, kid."
Yeah, one day.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else was I gonna mention about high school? Um,
One
I'm
memorable
coming.
moment I
Yeah.
remember having was conducting my senior year.
Uh-huh.
I got to conduct a concert piece. I did Disney at the movies. That was a
Oh
piece we
yeah.
played. That
Everyone
was a
loved
piece we
that
played
piece.
my freshman year. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I conducted that one, because the tuba part was boring, and
Mhm.
Ray was playing upright bass. So I was like, oh, he
Oh,
has
all
the
right.
bass part covered.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was like, I know there's a bunch of people that are going to want to conduct this piece. So I was like, I'm going to take it because of
I'm
that.
gonna take
So
it from
because I think it would be funny,
yeah.
and it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of people who like Disney, you know.
Yeah. So
So
I was like, this would be hilarious if I was the one conducting this one. So that's
yeah.
why I took it.
Yeah, that
And
that
then
piece was so fun to play.
yeah,
Super fun
it
to play.
was. And then Christian, aka Eli,
Yeah.
he let me borrow his Goofy hat.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I put on the Goofy hat like
Uh-huh.
while I was conducting. Like
Uh-huh.
I turned around, I bowed, and I turned back around, and then I pulled out the Goofy hat. The Goofy.
Surprise.
There's video of this. Zandra recorded our concert that year. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so you can see it on YouTube.
Hmm.
It's really funny.
Hmm.
And then once it gets to "Can You Feel the Love Tonight" or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever, like I like move my arm and then the hat goes off and it's just like at the perfect moment.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I was just like. So yeah, that was a fun moment.
Hmm.
I remember going to play at I think it was like Moorpark College for their college football team or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've talked about this story I think once or twice
Yeah,
before.
I think you told it on like RJ's episode or
Yeah, and
something.
Patty's too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I remember we were just like really short staffed because it was like an impromptu thing.
Yep.
So we didn't have a lot of people, and like we didn't have a trumpet players, and you had to conduct. So I was like, I'll play trumpet
Hmm. Yeah.
because this is your junior year, I think,
Yeah.
my sophomore year.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, and then we played 25 or 6 to 4, and then we get to the end, and then like I hit the note, and then actually I hit a higher note, like I hit a high B
Uh-huh.
on trumpet, and I was like, well, what if I hit higher? And then I went higher. I was like, because it's that cool chord at the end. It's like
Yeah,
an A
yeah.
major chord or something. And then like you end it, and then everybody just starts clapping for me because I hit that note. I was just like, hell yeah, this is awesome. That's one of my favorite memories.
Yeah, you remember that those football players at Moorpark College that we carpooled with?
Gotta drink milk, bro.
Gotta drink milk. You gotta before performance. You gotta take
take a
a dump. I remember that. I'm like
He's like,
never
it's
gonna
like
forget
it's not
that.
cool to be lactose, bro. He's like, it's okay if you're lactose. Like, don't
Yeah.
drink milk if you're lactose.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's not cool.
Yeah, those guys were like total bros, but it was great. That was a good memory.
And the tire goes out. We thought we were being shot at.
Yeah, it sounded like freaking gunshots when we were going down the grade towards Camarillo. One of the tires popped and it sounded like gunshots. Like, is it like, are we in Vietnam now? Like, it was crazy.
That was a funny time. And we came back and it was like 3 a.m. or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, because we were stuck on the freeway for a while. I forgot what happened. Like, did like AAA come over and like fix the tire or?
I think one of the guys came over. One of the people, one of their friends or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah, interesting time. That time on the highway, Lamau. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, every time we drive by that spot, I think about it. I'm like, hey,
Hmm.
good times.
Yeah, and then there's also like I guess the like off the clock times, like the not band time, like that I guess personal time, where we would like go to the car shops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those were always fun. Like the non-band times we had as well.
Yeah. I forgot we hung out a lot.
Yeah, we did.
There's like a billion pictures of us. Yeah, going to like see the Yu-Gi-Oh movie in like Thousand Oaks, and
Yeah.
going to card shops, and just hanging out. It was good times.
Yeah, the only car shop we have.
I know.
It's not even there anymore, but
Yeah, it's like a bike
Yeah.
shop or something now. R.I.P.
yeah, rip.
This is like Mike's comics, and then it was John's comics, or vice versa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was good times.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, those cards. I briefly got back into Yu-Gi-Oh like after I got my current job because like oh crap I actually have money now. Like
Yep.
so
The
I got
trap
back
of adulthood.
Yep. So I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh like very briefly.
It's still expensive.
It's still nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
Yeah. I never learned how link summoning or whatever works. I was like, oh, this is cool,
Yeah.
but I don't understand it. But it's cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there are so many different types of summonings now. There's the Exceed summoning, Link summoning, Pendulum summoning, synchros. There's just all these different mechanics. To try to keep Yu-Gi-Oh like fresh.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Feature creep.
Yep, the feature creep. Yeah, now that's why I don't play any card games. I don't know. I just kind of stopped recently. I made a Karibo deck just because I don't know. I like Karibo, just in general. So I tried to make a deck out of it, and it was very like all or nothing because you would play very defensive, and there's a certain card where, it basically like destroys everything else on the field, and it takes on like the attack and defense of like everything it destroyed, and then you can just basically kill
Attack directly.
someone. Yeah, attack directly with
Yeah,
that, something like that.
that's funny.
Yeah, very like OTK, one turn kill kind of move. So it was very like all or nothing kind of deck.
Yeah, that was funny. There were just different fads that would come into the band room at stuff.
Yeah, it was
'Cause that
Yu-Gi-Oh.
was brought back by like I think Sean and Mark. Because one
Yeah,
day they were playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and then everybody's like, "Yo, what if we played Yu-Gi-Oh?"
yeah. And then we all started playing.
Everybody
Yeah.
just into Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah,
Oh, you remember that one tournament we held, as like a band tournament?
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and we had like a fee that you had to pay to be in the tournament.
yeah.
I remember we didn't really organize it that well,
No,
TBH. But it was
yeah,
just like another fundraising idea that stemmed from our, I guess, personal interests.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Fundraising like car washing was always fun when they
Yeah,
let us
car
do it.
washing. Yeah, back then we could do it because we didn't have the car wash thing across the street to like compete.
So messed up when that happened. I was like, oh,
Yeah, it's like, well, we can't do car washes anymore because they're doing it like at the same price, but you get actual like professional grade equipment. So it's like, oh, we don't really have that. So the band had to do other fundraisers.
yeah. I remember like we would go out and we would just like busk on the corner playing our instruments with like signs advertising for the car wash,
Yeah, that's always fun.
and
I
people would give us tips.
Yeah, I actually never got to be part of that group because I was always the one like managing the actual car wash itself. I never got to do the
Yeah,
advertising. So I don't know. I thought that would have been cool to do. I never got to
it
do
was
it.
really fun. It was usually
Yeah.
like RJ, Lawrence, sometimes like Zonja or Marcel
Yeah.
playing like snare or something.
Hmm.
And then like RJ and I, we learned to play like the Mickey Mouse March,
Oh, okay.
and I played
Yeah,
trombone, so I'd be like,
yeah.
and people would love that one. I remember
Yeah,
one
yeah.
time we made like $20 in tips. It was
Oh,
cool.
nice. Yeah, yeah. There you go. We were a high school band turned street band. Like,
Basically, yeah, it was good times. Yeah,
yeah,
we're like the Too Many Zoos or something,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
or like Lucky Chops or something like that.
Oh man, I love Lucky Chops and Too Many Zoos.
Yeah,
They're such a good band. Um,
yeah,
there's also Tuba Christmas, all the
yeah.
various Tuba Christmases, and there's a one Tuba Christmas where after the performance we just like opened the case to see if like anyone would actually give us money. It's like, all right, let's play something.
Yeah, that was fun. I remember Tuba Christmas. I don't know if they kept on doing it at CI after my class left,
Yeah.
because I remember the year the year after I graduated, I went back for the winter concert and I played
Mhm.
for Tuba Christmas, and it was just like Aiden and Paul. It was very sad.
Oh yeah, rip.
They were both playing, they were both playing baritone, doing well, but they just had no actual tubas.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I was just like,
that started to become like a big problem. Like I would say going into like 2016 to like maybe 2018, like around that area, like low brass just started to die. Like there were actually way too many saxes and like
yeah,
way
there
too many
was
drummers.
what is it? Michael's brother. He was the
Uh-huh.
tuba player.
Hmm.
I forget his name. I feel bad.
Marcus?
Marcus, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Marcus was. I
Oh yeah,
remember.
he was a great two player. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he was. I remember the first time I saw him. I heard him play, and I was like, his tone's kind of weird, but I was like, he seems good. And then like by the time he was a senior, he was just like awesome. And I was just like,
Yep, yep. Yep. Yeah, I feel like he was like ahead for his time. Maybe.
oh yeah, he really was. And
Yeah.
he was playing like the marching valve trombone,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh yeah, he had the same thing I ran into, where you just get bored of playing the same tuba parts year after year.
Yeah. So you go play something else.
Yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
yep, I know the feeling. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember he stood out to me.
Yeah. If I could bring back, for the alumni band, like you, Brandon, like Marcus, you guys are just like low brass right there. Like that's
Yeah,
low brass. That's all we need.
yeah, yeah, because we can all play. We can all play anything.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. Brandon doesn't really play tuba, but he can play baritone and stuff.
Yeah. You
So.
can play baritone, trombone, all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fun times.
Although I feel like we would be pretty rusty, but I think we can catch on pretty fast.
No, I still play
Yeah.
all the time. Never
Oh, okay,
rusty.
that's good.
Don't sleep on me. I actually don't play trombone that much. I play trumpet a lot. Trombone, I don't. I don't play as
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
Just because like it's so loud. It's big. I feel
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, there are those mutes where you can basically make no sound. Like
Yeah,
you can hear it
yeah,
like through your headphones or whatever.
yeah. There's the Yamaha silent brass system. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought about buying those, but I was like, they're pretty pricey, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, I don't know if they're worth it or if they work that
They,
well.
they they do, but it's like you shouldn't do all your practicing that way. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like pretty good. Like if you really need to stealth practice badly
Yeah.
and stuff, and like you can hear yourself pretty well in them
Mhm.
from all the demos I've seen. I've never played one personally, but I've watched
Yeah, same.
reviews.
Yeah.
I've listened to people talk about them,
Uh-huh.
and I've read a bunch of stuff. But like, yeah, ultimately, it's like this is good, but you know,
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like wearing headphones all the time. Like
yeah,
if you're listening on blast all the time, the moment you take off your headphones, like everything's really quiet.
yeah,
Or like if you have headphones on and like someone's trying to talk to you and you're talking, you're just like screaming. But it
yeah,
feels
yeah,
like you're not screaming because the music's really loud. I feel like it's that kind of thing where it kind of like distorts your like listening capability of it. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud right now.
yeah. I wish there were like I could probably just go to Ventura College and not right now, but if times were normal, I could
Yeah.
go like steal a practice room or something. Because even when I was there with RJ, it was like there were like hardly ever any horn players practicing.
Oh, really?
There weren't that many horn players to begin with, and what few of us were there, like it was just like yeah, like
Mhm.
practice rooms are empty.
Yeah. Different story in university.
Yeah, when I would go to CSUN, because RJ and I we both went to CSUN.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even as a non-music major over there, I would go into the practice rooms every now and then. Like, who's going to stop me?
Mhm.
Just
Exactly.
walk in with a trumpet, just say you're a freshman. No one's gonna. It's like, okay,
Yeah. Did you have to schedule the practice rooms?
no.
Oh, okay. You just
I
whoever like
think,
first come first serve.
yeah, I think there might have been some like, or if somebody like, no one ever asked me to leave, but I think they could have, and I would have obviously if they were like a
Yeah.
music major. But yeah, I don't remember that. I think you could maybe schedule out some of the
Oh, okay.
like rehearsal rooms or whatever, but RJ would know more about that
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I never did any performance classes at CSUN because
Yeah.
I
So
was
the
commuting. It was
yeah.
just they were all at night, and I was like, I can't do this.
Oh, I see.
But
Yeah,
I,
and
I did jazz band 2 years at VC when I was
uh-huh.
studying the trumpet,
Oh,
and I
how was
took
that? How was that experience?
that was awesome because Mr. Drayton, my teacher, he is excellent.
Hmm.
He's just like he was like a real music professional. Like I won't go
Yeah.
read down his resume, but like if you read some of the names on there, it's just like whoa, he's so cool,
Dang.
and he's
Yeah.
like an awesome arranger and
Uh-huh.
yeah, just jazz trumpet player and educator. And he's it's funny because like he's like really strict in a sense, and
Uh-huh.
that turns off a lot of people because he's really honest about it. But
Yeah.
like if you put in the work with him, like he'll reciprocate it 100%.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He'll
Yeah.
make you like a better player, and he really did make me a better player. I
Mhm.
remember by the end of my time with him when I was at VC when I was transferring out, he was like, "You sound like a trumpet player." And I was just like, "I sound like a
Yes.
trumpet player."
The best compliment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
learned so much from him.
Yeah, I feel like if you're super serious with your playing, that strictness is what you want.
Yeah.
You know, you want that feedback. Like you want someone to be brutally honest with
Yeah,
you.
he would always tell me stuff, and I think about it still today.
Hmm.
He's like you'll thank me one day, and then like I think back to something he taught me, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
he was right. He was always right.
Yeah. What was some of his advice that he gave to you, like with your trumpet playing?
With my trumpet playing, like one thing he told me early on is like, young man, you are
Mhm.
very serious, perhaps too serious. And like he's like, you got to get that stick out of your ass. Like he's like, you just loosen up a bit, and I was just like, okay, sir. And yeah, like yeah, he was just awesome. Like he completely changed my way of playing and stuff because I had a lot of bad habits and just doing stuff
Mm,
wrong. And
yeah.
you know, like I regret like I didn't get to take like actual lessons when I was in high school or anything.
Yeah.
Like that's something I would recommend to anybody. If you want to really get better at something, find a teacher.
Right. Right.
Find a good teacher if you
Mhm.
can. But yeah, he completely changed the way I like think about music and stuff, and he made me into like an awesome trumpet player. Because like I remember like one time he was like, at the end of it, he's like, "You used to come in here playing the trumpet backwards and upside down." He's like, "Now you play it nice."
That's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just stuff like that. So it was like really incredible experience, and that's kind of why I have like I'm not like a professional musician like
Hmm.
RJ or anybody
Hmm.
else, but like I have like a pretty high understanding, I think, than your average
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Even
sure.
like relative to other people in the band, like
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. For sure. Do you even remember any like actionable trumpet advice that he gave? Speaking as a trumpet player, that could
Yeah.
always, improve.
Um, like you can do active listening to trumpet players when you're not playing in
Uh-huh.
downtime in between when you're practicing.
Yeah.
So like it's good to have like a regimented scale or like a
Uh-huh.
practice idea. You want to do your warm ups and stuff and have that, and then practice different thing different days and do lots of sight reading. Specifically for trumpet, he would tell you to play from your diaphragm, so kind of like you're using the restroom. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where you want your air to come from. And
Yeah.
you want to have your feet flat. And there was one thing like right now I'm
Yeah.
kind of slouching, but
Right.
you'd say like get a mouthpiece and like suck through the end of it, and then
Hmm.
like feel how like the air fills you up.
Yeah.
Now don't move your body, but exhale the air, and then like that's the position you want to play at,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that'll like increase like your airflow and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
And that was the thing I would teach to some of the low brass kids when I
Yeah.
was an alumni going to there, because like some of them would have questions for me. I was like, oh, that's a real basic one, because you could hear them like some of the trombone players, they would struggle to hit the higher notes.
Because they don't
Like
have
they would
enough
hit
air.
them, yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, you need to play with like a little bit more air, play with like good posture,
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
and then so that's stuff like that, and then it's like yeah, practice your long tones, be able to play your major scales in the circle of fifths, and
Oh,
play
okay.
like 120 or work your way up to 120, whatever speed you're at. But 120
Okay.
is like that's like your standard like audition speed,
Yeah.
like if
One
you're
120
auditioning for
beats. All
something.
right. Yeah.
So it's like like ba 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 ba. 1, 2, ready, play.
Mm.
Ba ba
Okay.
ba 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 ba. Just go through the circle of fifths, and then learn your you can play variations of that,
Yeah.
and then learn your minor scales, like your natural minor, your melodic minor,
Hmm.
harmonic minor. You can play, start on a different thing, and then like if you mess one up, start over
Oh, yeah.
from the
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So like I learned lots of things. Like basically the way he taught me to play trumpet, like you can kind of apply it to anything.
Hmm.
So like you can just learn to get decent or get good at anything. Because like that's
Yeah.
another thing he would like he'd write like music advice, and he would write some stuff. Now he's like, now erase the music, and it would just say advice. And he's like, now that applies to life. And I was just like, oh shit.
Oh my God. Mind blown.
Yes. So like he definitely like influenced a lot of my personal philosophy and like just like standard of thinking
Oh.
and excellence and things like that. So forever grateful to Mr. Drayton.
Hmm.
I still email him every now and then.
Okay.
He yeah.
Is he still teaching or is he retired?
I think he's kind of retired, but he's still playing and stuff,
Oh,
playing and
okay.
composing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There we go.
yeah. Yeah, and then RJ studied with him a lot too at
Hmm.
VC. He was in the jazz band as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. But like yeah, he also would teach like music history class and like history of rock and roll.
Hmm.
And then his music history class, he's like, if you can pass this class, he's like, you can pass like any class in college. Because like the way he would
Uh-huh.
structure it, it was just like generic enough, the structure of the class,
Oh, I
that
see.
like, you could apply that sort of thinking to like any sort of collegiate class,
Uh-huh.
regardless of the subject. It's just like, show up on time, take your notes,
Hmm.
do the assignments, do your readings. Here are the study materials are going to give you. Read those for the test, and that's the test
Uh-huh.
basically.
No. I was thinking like, hey, this class is gonna be so hard that you can pass like any class at that point.
No, it wasn't. Well, wasn't that hard, but
Yeah.
that's where I realized I really liked history.
Hmm.
Because at the time I was doing like a music major thing, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
I'd always said I wanted to be a music major, but I really didn't know. It was just something I like.
Yeah, you don't know if it's if you can make a career out of it and make a living
Yeah,
out of it.
I was just
Yeah.
like really like doubtful of myself, because I had a lot of like like self-confidence issues with my trumpet playing.
Yeah, I feel that.
So it's like, because it was funny, I could play trombone like flawlessly,
Mhm.
but like just trumpet, like the embouchure is so fickle.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like any slight deviation, it's just like, oh, I can't play.
yeah, yeah. Like you can tell when someone's really tired, because it
Yeah,
requires a certain embouchure to play trumpet.
yeah. But
Um,
taking his music history class, I was like, oh, I really like history. So
mhm,
and that's when I kind of went on the track of becoming a history major, and then I got my degree in history from CSUN.
mhm.
And then CSUN didn't have a music minor program, but I feel like I could have done that if it had
Uh-huh.
existed, just because I
Yeah.
had so many music credits and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It
Yeah,
basically accounts to a minor. It's just not recognized
basically
as a
that's how
minor.
I treat it, because like I took a
Yeah.
bunch of theory and sight training and sight
Yeah.
singing, and I did a bunch of performance classes. I took
Mhm.
music history and history of jazz, and I'm like, I have a music minor in
Yeah.
my head.
You basically have you basically have a music minor at that point.
Yeah, I was like, I took like 4 semesters of lessons,
Mhm.
so I was like, you know, yeah, that's how I treat it.
Yeah, before we go into like the post tsunami stuff, because we're kind of deviating a little bit.
Yeah,
Any like band memories that kind of stick out during our time in band? Um,
our time. I just remember like after all the seniors left, it was really interesting seeing like you have to fill in those shoes,
yeah.
and then like just establishing new norms and like
Yeah.
certain practices and stuff. Like
Yes.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah,
Like stuff.
seniors as in the class of 2010.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just forever the seniors in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, they were such a big role model. Like for sure, they were a big influence, for me as a leader, in the band as part of the leadership. Because they set like a standard of like musicianship that we had to meet. Like I felt like if we couldn't meet that, we're a bunch of failures. At that point. Um,
Yeah, and that's what I took seriously too.
yeah.
Just coming in as a freshman, that like not knowing how to play,
Yeah.
like it's just like it's really hard. Like just seeing your peers, like people in your grade level, people you've known for a long time of your school
Mhm.
life, and like they're just better than you.
Yeah.
And it's just like you have to. I had to start from zero. It was just like it like ate at me. Like I wasn't like jealous of them, but I was just like mad at
Mhm.
myself for being bad. So I
Yeah.
was like, that's how I got a lot better in like such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So
I
just had that
mean,
drive.
you can't blame yourself. You didn't have as much time as some of us. So.
Yeah, but I was egotistical about it. So
Yeah.
I was like, I know I could be awesome. So I was like, I'm going to be awesome.
Yeah. Last week Zandra and I talked about trauma and suicides. Do you have any thoughts about trauma and suicides? Or it's just kind of like
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah, I did them. I did them every now and then too. Most of the time I was playing sousaphone, but I thought it was just more of an entertainment thing.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely like 100% an entertainment thing. It's not like anything to do with the music.
Yeah.
Um,
But
definitely an
I like
entertainment
the
thing.
cadence that they played, that they
Yeah, yeah, it's
from
cool
that one
kids.
college. Yeah.
Yeah, it's from Colorado State University's bands. They were kind of like the pioneers of trauma and suicides, and that's
Mhm.
where I got it from. So I told Zandra like, "Hey, can you duplicate this cadence, and then we'll do suicides with them." That's kind of how it started. Um,
Yeah, I remember that. It was fun because I was one of the first people that learned it with you. Like it was like you, me, Brandon, Alex, and I think like
yeah, yeah, I
Eric.
remember that. Yeah, it's on Facebook, the Facebook
Yeah,
page. Yeah.
it was good times.
Yeah, it's visually it looks so fun.
Yeah, it's just like a
Yeah,
cool like little way to pass the time and like please the crowd and stuff. So
exactly.
give
Yeah.
everybody else a break, except for the poor drummers.
Oh yeah. Like honestly, as a drummer, like you can play for hours, like
Yeah,
IMO. It's
yeah,
not like you're a trumpet player where you can only play for a certain amount of time for you're just tired.
yeah. I
Because
still remember that one UCLA bass drummer from the basketball game, and he sounded like a whole
oh
section.
man, yeah, I remember that time.
That guy was amazing.
Yeah, when they played Take on Me, I'm like, dude, this bass drummer sounds like the whole bass section,
And like he played it like in between his legs, just on one
Yeah,
side. Like he was just playing the top of it. It was just like, whoa.
yeah, yeah. UCLA was such a big influence, in my leadership as well. I stole so many
Yeah.
things from them.
because you went to their drum major camp thing, right?
Yeah, I went to the drum major camp too, but just seeing how UCLA's band operates, I feel like a lot of it just makes sense. Like the
Hmm.
whole hand signal thing, I stole that from UCLA.
Yeah.
Like that just makes sense to me. Like one, I don't need to talk, which is great as a drum major. You want to save your voice as much as possible.
Hmm.
Um, two, like you can communicate, whatever song that's coming up like really fast because it's all visual. You don't need to rely on audio because sometimes it's hard to yell something to like the back row, right?
Yeah.
Um, so if it's all visual, it's like really easy to communicate. And three, it's like really unique because the drum major throws up a hand signal, the audience is gonna be like, "What?" But the band's like, "Yeah, I know what you're saying."
Yeah. Yeah, and it was always really cool seeing the current band like carry those on. It's like I remember that signal.
Yeah, 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 yeah. They still use it to this day, I think.
Yeah, they,
So
they
that's
would do
cool.
Get Ready and Sons of Westwood and all
Yeah,
all those.
yeah, those stuck around. And then there's some new signals that we don't know. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember there was one. It was like "Shut Up and Dance," or I
Yeah.
remember they did signal for that one. I was like, "Oh, that's cute." I was like, "I like that."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's
Like they
pretty
would just
cool.
come up with cool creative symbols.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
remember their drum major from last year. I think his name was like Emilio something.
yeah, yeah. He
I,
he
I
just
saw
graduated.
I saw his mace work last year. I was just like, "Oh shit!" It's like this
Yeah,
guy's
yeah,
good.
no, yeah. He's a really good like macer. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
"Oh man, that's impressive." And he was doing it with the eagle on the
Oh
tip
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The eagle was dangerous because they
Yeah,
had like really sharp corners.
you could cut yourself
So
with it.
yeah, you
Yeah,
can you can cut yourself if you're spinning it too fast and like something goes off.
yeah. I was like, that's cool. Just seeing this guy in white like do all the cool tricks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He just graduated. So he's been an alumni for like I don't know a couple months at this point. But it'd be cool to get like all of the section leaders from past or drum majors or whatever like in the low brass section, and then like all of us
Mm,
play at like homecoming or something. I
that'd be
like
cool.
yeah. I always envision like I don't know like the perfect band. All the people coming back, and if we just took your skills like from high school and just like transported it to now, like we would be this massive band that would sound like great. I don't know. This is like the dream as like
Yeah,
the homecoming person that organizes it together.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I have that thing where it's like I wish I could play trombone with myself, with my trumpet player self.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I wish I could play a duet by myself. It's like
Yeah.
I guess you can record yourself or whatever, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. If you could get everybody together, like yeah, we would sound pretty solid. I think.
Hmm. Yeah, and then something that I took from university band is that after the football game ends, we always have like a post game performance,
Mm,
and I'm really trying to push that with the current band by having the alumni band do it
yeah,
at homecoming, um, because like I think at the end of the day the band is there to play,
yeah,
and I mean we're there to to cheer on the team and whatever, but I think me as a bandy, like I just want to play my instrument. Even
yeah,
if we lose or win, like whatever, who cares? Like as long as I
yeah,
get to play, that's what matters. So that's kind of like my philosophy as a person like conducting the band. It's like how can we play as often as possible, you
yeah.
know? So I always have the band's back in terms of that, in that
Yeah, and then
regard.
I know,
Yeah.
certain principals never wanted us to play at specific times. They're always
Yeah.
real, real anal about that stuff, and it's like, then what are we here for?
Yeah, exactly. And then there's like other groups you don't want to like step on their toes. It's a lot of like I guess politics that you got to be
Some of
careful.
that I get. Like, we're not the cheerleaders. The cheerleaders are the
Right.
cheerleaders. Like, let them start the cheers.
Yeah.
Like back when I understood, it's like, don't step on their toes. Like, they're there to cheer too. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
but yeah. If they don't want us to play, it's like, then why? We're just there to look pretty. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But now, as an alumni, it's like we can do whatever we want. But again, like I don't want to push boundaries too hard, like too much. Like,
Yeah, because they're the ones that'll face the consequences, not us.
exactly, yeah. Like we're not gonna be there, but the current band is, so
Yeah.
they're gonna get all like the backlash, from either the administrators or like other squads or whatever.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's something I learned pretty quickly when I came back first as an alumni. It's like, yeah, this isn't my band anymore. It's their band. Like, let them have it.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
We're just we're there to support.
Yeah, respect them and let them take charge.
Yeah, yeah. Support and also give us an opportunity to play our instrument.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, because that's always fun. Yeah, I think as an adult, we don't really have that opportunity like to be in a band. Like that's really hard to get like a band together, like
Yeah,
in adulthood, just in general.
yeah. RJ and I keep trying to start stuff, but like we're just, especially right now, it's really hard.
Yeah, people have different schedules, obligations. It's really difficult. Like
Yeah.
for a long time, I wanted to start like a citywide like marching band. That's like one of
Mm.
my like goals that I wanted to do, but that's requires so much work. Cause like first you gotta get people on board. Second is like you gotta find a practice place.
Yeah.
Like those two things alone are gonna be difficult. And like three, you gotta fundraise for the instruments, mainly for like the drum line. You know, I can't rely on any schools like to help provide instruments. Like I want that organization to be like self sufficient. You know,
Yeah, and then if you want like marching specific stuff too, like if you want marching low brass or like if you want like a mellophone.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then there's like the storage of it too.
Yeah, yeah, where are you
It's
gonna put it? And it's like
yeah, it's a ton of logistics that like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. But it's definitely something that I wanna do. Like whether that's feasible, like the execution is the difficult part, I think.
yeah.
I think I have enough experience like on the logistics side, I can take care of it, but it's like, oh, the execution, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
you can't really trust just random people until you actually know them, and then they're not
Yeah.
random.
Yeah, like there's definitely some people that I think um you know, talk to them and get their advice and to get their help. Like Andre,
Yeah,
Oxnard's high school band director. Like I could
yeah.
get his advice. Like I'm sure he has like a ton of connections, and
Mhm.
he's also he's also in the Ventura County concert band. So I play with him, or
Oh,
I guess
cool.
we used to play,
Yeah.
every week. Um,
Is he playing tuba? Or
yeah, he's playing tuba.
cool.
But he didn't. It's funny. He doesn't go to all the rehearsals. He just goes when he has time to go.
Yeah, I mean
And
he's a teacher and
yeah,
a
yeah, he's a
director.
teacher. He's busy, you know.
Yeah,
So can't expect him to be in every. He can't expect him to go to every rehearsal.
yeah.
But
He's got his own band to manage.
yeah, oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 exactly. Um, let's see. Uh, what else? What is I gonna mention? Um,
I want a sousaphone just randomly.
you
That'd be
want a
nice to have.
sousaphone?
Yeah, they're too expensive though.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the sousaphones that we have in the band room, they're kind of banged up and they smell kind of weird just because they're like super old.
Yeah, those things
Uh,
were beat up by the time we got them.
yeah, yeah, fairly heavy on your, I think your left shoulder, right?
Yeah, it's your left shoulder. Like
Left
you,
shoulder.
you get used to it if you're like if your shoulders are just like physically big enough.
Yeah, yeah,
But it's like yeah, it is like my left shoulder was like made out of iron by the time I graduated.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know some bands they have like a little cushion on that part
Yeah,
of the horn, so that you know it's not as heavy.
yeah, and there
Um,
are certain ways to wear it where it's like
yeah.
it relieves less pressure
Hmm.
and stuff. Yeah, but that's one thing where it's like before then, like Vince and Brian, they
Uh-huh.
were seniors
Yeah.
when I was a freshman. They didn't use the sousaphones really. They mostly used the marching tubas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I always hated those things, so that's why I moved to the sousaphone.
Yeah, I would always call them like the rocket launcher attachment.
Yeah, they're cool and all, but like I just always preferred the sousaphone.
Yeah, I think I prefer the sousaphone.
I never
Yeah,
liked the little
yeah,
rocket launcher attachments. I never
yeah.
passed that on to anybody either how to do it.
Yeah. I didn't pass it on purpose.
I know I didn't do it on purpose. I taught people how to do it, but like no one ever cared after a certain point.
Yeah.
And I didn't like playing it that way. It just always felt awkward to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little biased. I just like the look of the sousaphone more versus
It
like
just looks cooler. Yeah.
yeah, versus like the rocket launcher attachment. I don't know. If you look at any like drum corps, they don't use sousaphones. They use, you know, the
Contrabass.
contrabasses, you know.
Yeah.
So
You can do cool
uh,
tricks with them. Like you can flip it up and
yeah,
fly.
that's probably why.
Yeah.
It's more mobile versus like a sousaphone, which I guess it makes more sense in
Yeah,
drum corps context.
I prefer the sousaphone, but the sousaphone does have a different tone to it because
Yeah.
it's more I was confused the two, conical and cylindrical,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's more trumpet like basically.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
the sound naturally cuts through any
Oh
sort
yeah.
of
Yeah.
marching horn is just like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like a marching baritone versus a concert baritone. The
Hmm.
marching baritone's built to be heard, whereas the concert baritone's better for blending.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
that's why, like, whenever UCLA's tubas would show up to like Anaheim TubaChristmas, they put
Hmm.
them in the back
Yeah.
because they're
Like
just
yeah.
naturally going to project forward.
Oh,
So
okay.
they'll
That makes
push the
sense.
sound in front of them forward
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It makes sense. I
yeah,
remember in university band, our band director was a trumpet player, and he would always tell us that don't think of like sound going straight, think of your sound going expanding outward.
yeah,
And that really helps you like with your tone
hmm
and really thinking of like blending and all that, because I think a lot of us think of just playing very loud and just cutting through everything,
yeah.
especially as a trumpet player.
Yeah,
um
Mr. Doty, when he
yeah.
was substitute teaching for us, we played outside one time because we were
Yeah.
practicing for homecoming, and he was like Mr. Sousaphone because you would call him Mr. Tuba or Mr. Sousaphone.
Yeah.
He was like, "You can play a little softer."
Just a little bit
I was like,
yeah.
"Okay." I was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Yeah." And then I remember when I was first learning tuba, when Vince was helping us at band camp before we
Mhm.
had like the section leader, he was telling me, he's like, "I don't need to hear you like playing on tuba." He's like, I want to feel you rather than hear you."
Oh yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, I get it, and that clicked in my head at that
Yeah, I
time.
get it.
I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I want to push the sound forward, be part of the backbone with drumline.
Yeah, yeah, but not like to the point where you just turn the bass, up to 11.
Yeah, totally. So it's like, so that influenced a lot of my
Mm.
playing tuba.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah. Any other band memories before we move on to the post-tsunami part, which is like, the meat of the
Yeah,
podcast?
band memories. Like, I just had a really good time in band overall.
Yeah,
Like,
me
I
too.
think it really helped shape me as a person. Like, I don't really have any negative experiences. Um, like, I guess I regret not being as good musically, I guess, as I could have been.
Hmm.
Could have gotten lessons and stuff like that. But I feel like for the resources we had and the knowledge that
Oh
we had,
yeah.
like I did pretty well for myself.
Yeah,
So
we made the most of what we had. We
yeah,
didn't have the money for like private lessons or any of that. So,
yeah, because I was just always really serious about getting better and
mhm.
wanting to be, sound as good as I could. So I'm learning a bunch of different instruments. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good time.
Cool. All right, let's move on to the post tsunami part. So what are you currently doing now, and how did you get to that point?
Yeah, so right now I'm working at a tech company, OptoTest, out
Hmm.
in Camarillo. They're like a fiber optic test equipment company.
Oh, okay.
So they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
like fiber optic test equipment, and they make fiber optic cables,
Hmm.
and those just help, and like the telecom and like manufacturing stuff.
Hmm.
So we're doing like cable production or testing their DUTs, their device under tests and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Cool.
it's a little tangential, but I'm the customer service rep over there. So
Ah, I see.
I process like sales orders, and I issue RMAs, and I
Uh-huh.
give out like quotes for calibration of our units because we do maintenance on them, maintenance and repairs.
Uh-huh.
So it's like I can give out like an RMA number. I'm just like in the ERP and the CRM software,
Oh,
that
yeah,
sort of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
ERP is enterprise resource planning.
yeah,
It's kind of like business management software essentially. It sounds very boring, very corporate.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. It's
yeah.
pretty corporate.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's for managing, the business essentially for anyone who's confused about, all these terms.
yeah. If you
Um,
just Google like Salesforce.com, it's something like that. We
yeah.
we don't use Salesforce, but something similar to that.
Oh,
You can
okay.
get a you can get an idea of what we do
Yeah. What
or what I do.
what does the company use, for the software?
I don't know if I can say.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I might be NDA'd.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I
Okay,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
okay, no, it's all good. I know at Haas we use SAP for a lot
Hmm,
of our business processes,
yeah,
and then we use a ton of iPads on the floor, and that's kind of where I come in.
yeah.
I make the iOS iPads, and they interface with our SAP system, which does all of our business management.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
yeah, so the iPads basically just kind of act like a gateway, like a mobile gateway into our SAP system.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. and because we're using iPads, you need to have like a developer on the front end, which is the iPad end,
Mm.
and a developer on the back end, which is the SAP business management end, to like basically glue the two parts together.
Mm.
Um, and I do that front end part.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but anyways, yeah, I like the answer you put, the corporate wage slave.
Oh yeah, that's what I put. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have a really good time at my company. Like we're a small company, we're
that's
like a
good.
pretty
Yeah,
close knit team,
yeah,
and everyone there is like super awesome, very helpful and friendly.
cool.
And it just like I do external customer service, but I also do internal customer service. So I work a lot
Oh,
with our
okay.
sales team.
Yeah.
Like I talk to like manufacturing and production.
Uh
I
huh.
occasionally talk to it's like engineering and marketing as well. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm kind of like the president of the company said like you're like the mascot of our company. You're like the face, and I was like but
Oh,
like internally I talk to everybody as well. So I'm kind of like an internal coordinator because I report to like our operations guy.
mhm.
He's my boss. He's really cool. And
Oh,
then
okay.
so it's like I'm like in I don't I'm not like super deep into the business side of it or anything, but like I'm like knowledgeable a little bit about that stuff, and I just communicate with between different departments and stuff,
Oh, okay.
and with our
Yeah.
customers externally. If they have
Mm.
an issue, they send it to customer service, and that's me. So
Oh, I see. It sounds like
yeah,
a customer support slash like analyst role.
a little
Um,
bit.
okay.
Yeah, it's like internal operations
Uh-huh.
and customer service.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and occasionally I'll do because it's a small company. Everyone wears a lot of hats.
Hmm.
But yeah, but we're cool. Look us up on LinkedIn or Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
like fiber optic. It's kind of hard and heady stuff to understand. Like I don't fully understand it because I just don't have that
Yeah.
technical background. But it's cool. It's like we're part of the supply chain that helps your internet and like
Exactly.
production.
Yeah, yeah. We would be screwed without, internet.
Yeah,
And the fiber optics is the thing that's carrying that signal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really cool. Like seeing us use our own test equipment to like make cables and stuff
Hmm.
for like big manufacturing companies and stuff. And it's just like it's cool.
Yeah.
We do cool stuff.
Cool. And like leading up to working at your current place, like how you went to CSUN, right? So can you talk about a little bit about that? I guess your college experience.
Yeah, so first I went to Ventura College and I just kind of had the idea of being a music major because I
Hmm.
really didn't know what I wanted to do. And that's where I talked about that earlier. I studied with Mr. Drayton and I played in jazz band, played in like the symphonic orchestra and
Hmm.
stuff. That was fun. Playing in the jazz band and studying trumpet like definitely changed my life
Yes.
and stuff. And then I eventually transferred over to CSUN, but then I was commuting by train basically because it was just cheaper than living over there.
Yeah,
With
yeah. I think
the
I
way my
think
situation worked out.
yeah, I think RJ mentioned it. Like you guys would take the train like every
Yeah,
every
for a
time you
little
go.
bit, RJ and I, we would like sometimes he would drive, and sometimes I think once or twice he would take the train, and then
Mm.
for one semester, Andrew would ride the train every day with me, and we would
Oh,
go.
yeah, yeah. It might have been
Yeah,
Andrew. I'm
yeah,
confusing the two.
and then just riding the train was fun times. We have lots of weird and funny train stories.
Oh, okay.
But it's like at the time I was
Yeah.
at CSUN, like it was like a loveless marriage, I guess you could say. Because I was like I'm just here for my degree. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I like it, but like I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to
No, I feel that.
like make connections. I was just like I'm just punch in, punch out.
Yep,
And it's
I
like
feel that.
I get here at a certain time because the trains go at a certain time. I leave at a certain time because the trains leave at a certain time. So it was very like, yes, kind of soulless, I guess. I
Yeah,
had a
very
good
like business.
time and I learned a lot, but yeah, I really didn't. I didn't leverage anything when I was going to see Sun. I was very like robotic and like business like about it.
Hmm. No, yeah, I feel that. That's how I was like with university band.
Yeah, just punch in and out.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I
Yeah,
was like, because high school band, I knew what it took to do a good job at the leadership level, and I didn't want to put that much effort. So, especially considering that like in college, I guess the stakes are higher because like you want to do a good job at your major because that's more important. I feel like.
yeah.
Um, so I felt like I needed to put more energy into that versus like just band. I mean, band was fun, um,
Mhm.
but like I'm not a music major. It's not my career. So
Yeah. Yeah, I took like one music history class, or no, I took like 2 music classes when I was at CSUN. But yeah, I could
yeah.
never do the performance stuff because they all met like at weird times,
Hmm.
and I was like, I can't do that with the train. The train stopped running when this class ends, and I wasn't driving at the time.
Hmm.
I have a driver's license now, but like I was like I don't want to drive.
Hmm.
Like not like drive out to Northridge just for like playing
For
in a
like an
band.
hour.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was like, but yeah, I had a good time. But most of my memorable time was definitely at Ventura College. That's where I did a lot of my formation of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
season was fun. Good times out there. But yeah, I fully went in, just like went in and coming out not expecting to get a job in history or anything. I was
Oh.
like, I'm just studying history because I like
Hmm.
history.
Yeah.
And I was
Yeah.
like, I feel like the job world is like, I was like, eh. I was like, I'm kind of weird. Like, I don't think I necessarily fit specifically in any one spot. So I was
Hmm.
like, what happened? What'll happen will happen. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
fair about it.
Yeah, you put very confusing on the path leading up to it. So like what made it confusing? Like what makes it
Well, it's just like outside of academia, like studying history, they don't really give you a clear career path necessarily.
right. Yeah, like I can't really think of a position, as a history major, maybe like an a historian, but
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I did the academia thing for a bit, when I was there, like doing the upper level, like senior level stuff.
yeah.
It's like I can do this, but I'm like, it's so like draining having to write like a 20-page thesis or something. I was just like, I'm not about this. Like I like learning and studying and discussing it, but I'm like, I don't want to like get published in an academic journal or anything like
Yeah.
that. And I was like, I don't really want to be an educator either.
Hmm.
I was like, if I did, I would want to go for the collegiate level, and then to do that, I would probably need a master's degree minimum, probably a
Yeah.
doctorate. I was just like, I'm not about
That's more
that.
money.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was
Yeah.
like, I could see myself being a history teacher, but I was like, I really don't like the current education system. But I have a lot
Yeah.
of respect, for people in it and like the teachers because like they're undervalued and
Yeah.
overworked and
Yeah.
underpaid,
Yeah. Are you
and they
thinking
have all
about
these expectations on
are
them.
are you
Yeah.
thinking about like high school or junior high teachers?
Yeah, specifically high school and junior high.
Okay.
I mean, elementary is school teachers too. Like they're also, they get the short end of the stick. But
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah, teachers are expected to do so much, and they're just valued so little in our country, and it's just like that sucks.
Yeah, it's like
It's like teachers like barely get like a living wage, and it's like, come on, like they're teachers, like they're like like they're entrusted with like the
the
future of our
future.
kids,
Yeah,
and
literally
like
the future.
this is how you treat them. This is how you treat them. It's like, nah, I don't want to. Not for me.
Yeah, like I would hear like Julian occasionally talk about, his experience as a teacher. I'm like, that sounds like a lot. I don't remember I thought being a teacher would be like, I don't want to say easy, but I thought in my mind it wouldn't be this difficult.
Mhm.
Like especially like in high school, there's like the whole discipline aspects that you gotta account for that you don't really have to account for in college.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that in itself is already a lot because it's like borderline like babysitting.
yeah, and that's why I was like, I couldn't, I would be a bad teacher by like, by the guidelines you have to follow,
Yeah,
that make a successful teacher, quote unquote, by state or like federal standards.
yeah,
But like, I'm sure I could make like a difference in like a kid's life or teach them like valuable lessons. But it's like, but
yeah,
I don't give a shit about their test scores. Like, I don't care.
yeah,
I care about them learning and like walking away from this experience, like,
yeah. For
being,
life in general.
yeah, being more knowledgeable or being richer in spirit. Like I
Yeah,
don't care if they get an A in the class.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because grades don't really matter. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
they're like they matter to like a point, but it's like
to
really
a
it's what you learn
point.
from the class.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I didn't do well in my AP bio class when I
Hmm.
took that in
Same.
high school. But then I took biological anthropology at Ventura College.
Yeah.
And this is a teacher who he would go out and teach at universities in Africa, and I think he taught part time
Oh,
at
that's
UCLA.
cool. Yeah,
So he was like a legit ass teacher. All the professors there were legitimate, but like
yeah.
he was a serious anthropology dude.
Hmm.
Like like he was like out in the field doing stuff as well. He wasn't
Yeah,
just a professor.
yeah,
Not to diminish professors, like they're obviously very important, but
yeah.
he was just like incredibly knowledgeable, and it was like a hard class. And I worked my butt off, but like They should have made biology a prerequisite for that class, because you could tell a lot of people in that class just had no basis of biology.
Oh, it's like, oh crap.
Yeah, just kind of assume that like basic biology. And then I remembered like enough and understood enough from my AP bio days. Even if you were to look at my grades on my transcripts and like you got like a D and a C, like you did bad in that class. And it's like, well, but I learned a lot.
Yeah. There's one class that I remember. It was like my first programming class, and I failed the class, but I learned so much in it.
Yeah,
Because
you can learn a lot from failing.
yeah, a lot of programming class, it's very like A or F. There's like no in between, I feel. Yeah. So that's why I got the F.
Yeah, and then I remember just doing that biological anthropology class, and then I got an A in that class. And then at one of the last class sessions, I had to like ask to leave early because I had my music juries. So music juries are like part of the thing where it's like, to be a music major in a lot of colleges, you have to get evaluated every semester, to continue on as a music major. In this case, at VC, it was to continue on in the private lesson program.
Oh, okay.
Because you had to have a certain amount of private lessons, to transfer, and stuff like that. But like, so I was doing private lessons, even though I really wasn't a music major at that point. So I left the class early, and then I went to my music performance, and I played. And it was the last one. It was like of my spring semester before I transferred out. And it was like the best one I ever played, and I was there just being evaluated by the music department head and then like my teacher, and they were both just like really proud of me and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. And like I walk away, and then I come back to the biological anthropology class, and I talk to the teacher just as like the class is wrapping up, and like he never like said my name. He's like, oh hey Angel, welcome back. And then we were just talking about stuff, and he's like, yeah, he's like, you're a really thoughtful person. He's like, I really liked like your work in the class, and I'm like, you pay attention to me? I was like, what? Because he would just go in and kind of lecture and tell us to do stuff.
Yeah.
And I just assumed I was just like a face to him.
Yeah.
But like he obviously knew me, and he like was familiar with the work I did for the class, and I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. It's like at that point you were noticed, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the teacher noticed me, and then like I got an A in that class, and that's probably like the proudest I felt in college, like those two moments. Yeah. Like just walking off from my music stuff, and then also doing this random science class, and I was like, oh okay, I can kind of do whatever I want to do. That's what I learned from that.
Yeah. Going back to the music juries, how is that like paint us the picture for that? Because I've never been through a music jury before.
Yeah, so it's like you're like when you take private lesson. This is specifically from the VC perspective. Yeah. RJ could probably tell you from the CSUN perspective, but at VC, like you audition at the beginning of the semester or whatever to continue in or to start to apply for the music lessons. And then you get in or you don't, based on your audition. And then you meet with your private instructor, and you meet like twice a week or something, for your private instruction class. And you schedule it whenever, because that's just how it works with the private instructor. And then, they're either like a part-time or full-time faculty.
Yeah.
And then you do your lessons. Everybody has their own program, depending on where they're at musically, like their ability level. And then by the end of the semester, you want to have a goal. And then that goal that you set out is kind of like what you will perform at your juries to show that you've improved. So like say like you don't know all your major scales right now, but you want to do that for your music juries, So it's like for my music juries, I'm going to play my major scales at 120 BPM, in the circle of fifths, and I'm also going to perform this piece I've worked on all semester, Yeah. And then like you'll play it from memory, and then blah blah blah, do your thing, and then you'll get graded and evaluated, by a panel, by panelists from the music department, and then they'll give you like they'll give you some feedback, and then you pass or not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So since you set like your goals, does someone need to validate those goals? Like, hey, like this actually isn't enough. Like we need more out.
That could be feedback, but ideally, like your music instructor would like kind of tell you like this isn't a good goal. Like you should aim higher or do more. But I mean, that's totally a thing. Like you could like achieve your goal and then like, but not have it be meaningful, where it's like, that's not really impressive. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
I don't think that ever really happened, but that definitely could happen.
Okay.
And I imagine that happens like maybe at really like serious universities or something.
Yeah.
But here the music department was just pretty small, and there were only so many people doing stuff. I feel like it would be pretty obvious if somebody was really giving it their all or not,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But
yeah, because I'm thinking like, what if you intentionally put like a really low goal for yourself to have like an easy semester?
Yeah, you're just cheating yourself at that point.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Because we would have that in like the jazz band too with Mr. Drayton. Like he would give
Uh-huh.
us a semester project, and he's like, "It's whatever you want it to be." And
Yeah.
that would kind of freak out like a high schooler because it's like, there's no structure. Like, what am I
Yeah,
supposed to
literally
do?
zero. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like you can think of something. Like
Yeah.
you'll do something.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something that I wish high school would have done better is just more critical thinking, like kind of thinking for yourself.
Hmm.
Having the freedom to do whatever. Um,
Yeah, because
versus like very structure.
yeah, because I would see some people like complain about our school about like what they did or didn't learn
Hmm.
and stuff, and then I would see people from other schools like also complain about the same thing, and it's like it's probably more of a
Yeah.
problem with the education system in general rather than
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
specific high school.
Hmm.
Because I didn't like I don't know, like I felt like I was adequately prepared for college when I went in.
Yeah.
Like I never had to pull an
Same.
all nighter. College was never like overly difficult for me.
Hmm.
Like I mean, obviously I studied what I liked, so that was doing that. Like I
Oh
wasn't out
yeah.
there studying like something I'm super unfamiliar with. Wasn't doing like organic chemistry or anything,
Oh God, no.
Yeah, but it's like like a lot of it is like what you want to get out of your learning and like
Hmm.
your individual studies. So it's like at some point, like sure you can blame not having the resources that other people have, but
Hmm.
like you can do a lot on your own.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like up to you.
Yeah, like not to say like everything's pull yourself up by your bootstraps, because like
Hmm.
there are just certain things in life you will get shortchanged, and that sucks,
Hmm.
and it's not fair. But it's like, but you can still fight back against that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you can control your reaction to,
Yeah,
your
and like
situation.
if it really bothers you that much, well then you can organize with other people and try and change,
Hmm.
whatever it is you don't like. Like you can be a political activist or something,
Yeah, yeah,
lobby
yeah.
your congressperson or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I felt like I was pretty adequately, but between like my high school stuff and studying with Mr. Drayton, like I feel like he prepared me for like life.
This is
I
life
was,
in
I was
general, yeah.
I was prepared kind of for anything in college. Like nothing
Hmm.
really surprised me.
Cool. Um, so I have a question here. It says, does it line up with what your high school self wanted to? And you were like, nope. So, what
Nah.
did your high school self had an idea of what he wanted to do, as a career?
I think at the time I just vaguely said something music related because I
Hmm.
didn't really have an idea of what I wanted to do, but I was like,
Yeah.
well, I like music, so I guess it would be something music related.
Yeah.
And it's I'm not doing anything music related, career
Hmm.
wise, so that didn't necessarily line up. But I definitely don't regret studying music at all for the time I did at Ventura College. Like I feel like it made me a pretty unique person too,
Yeah.
even relative to other history majors. Like I just have that like I have a different perspective. I have like the mind of a historian, but I also have the mind of an artist or a musician, quote
Yeah.
unquote, a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit. So it's like that I feel like that gave me a unique perspective.
Hmm.
Like I remember one time I took a American youth history class. So it was like the history of American youth, of kids in America,
American youth. Oh.
like in the teenagers and stuff from
Hmm.
like the 1900s to like 90s or 80s basically.
Uh-huh.
So and then like there were a lot of sections on music, and there was rock and roll, and like Elvis and stuff. And like I remember I wrote like an essay on like youth and rock and roll, and like the professor was like, "Wow, you really seem like jazzed about this." He's like, "Are you a musician?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, this is your best essay." I'm like, "Cool, thank you."
Yeah, it was easy for me.
Yeah,
I
yeah. I was like, "Oh, I
was
get to
like,
write
yeah.
about music." I'm like, "That's easy."
Yeah. Easy clap. Cool.
Yeah. So yeah. So after college, my grandpa was pretty sick, and then I was
Mhm.
just depressed, kind of in general. So I had a hard time finding a job right away because I graduated
Mhm.
in like 2017, and then I was just helping take care of my grandparents.
Yeah.
So I was living with my mom at the time, and then around 20 last year in 2019, I moved in with my grandparents,
Mhm.
and then that's helping take care of them because my grandpa he's good now, but like, he was just really sick for like a year and a half, 2 years,
Mhm.
and just like it was taking a toll on him, on my grandma, and so I tried to help as much as I could, but I was just like depressed and trying to find a job, and then just it was just weird.
Oh, yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah. I feel
yeah, I
that.
eventually started doing like I went to like a temp agency last
Mhm.
year, And then, I was just doing random jobs, and I eventually found my place to where I'm at OptoTest as a
Oh,
temp
okay.
thing. And then they officially hired me on like earlier this year. But I was there for like, because usually the contracts are for like 3 or 4 months, but like the temp agency liked me, so my contract was for like 6 or something.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So they couldn't, the company couldn't hire me full time, or like I was working there full time, but they couldn't hire me as an employee
Uh-huh.
for like 6 months, even though they really liked me.
Oh, okay. So you started out as a temp and they like really liked you to the point where they brought you on full time.
Yeah, because I was
Oh.
working there full time, but I just wasn't an employee of the company. I was an employee of the temp agency. So it
Oh,
was,
I see.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like working like a 9 to 5 basically, but
Uh-huh.
it was just really funny, like just going there and it's like, oh, I wish I had PTO, or I wish.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, nope, go to the temp agency.
Yeah. How do temporary agencies work? Like
They're pretty good. Like, you just kind of, because there are different temp agencies. There's ones for like
yeah.
more STEM based stuff. Like there are ones for like engineers and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and programmers and things like that. And then mine was like specifically for like office related stuff,
Mhm.
office worker stuff. Because I don't know, I was like, that feels like something I could do. I was like, my mom still does. She works with like different school districts and
Mhm.
stuff. So it's like, okay, yeah, like I've seen her do that. I was like, I could do something related to that. So I just did a bunch of random jobs. Like last year, I was working at the Cowboys camp.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty random. Yeah, and then I eventually found my way to there because it's like you work there for however long they need you, and then if you really don't like it, like you can just
Just
kind
move
of,
on to something else.
yeah. So it
Yeah.
was kind of cool. Like you work at different stuff, see what you're good at, build more experience.
Mhm.
Hopefully get good feedback from whoever's like working with you,
Oh,
or
okay.
whoever's like the one that like requested your help or whatever.
Mhm.
And then like the temp agency folk, they just kind of there to support you and help you find like whatever gig you're looking for, or if you just want to be like a random temp thing.
Mhm.
Like you can just get a call around like, hey, can you work this job, blah blah blah. It's like it pays this and this and this, and you have to go do this, and it's like, okay, yeah, cool. So
Yeah,
it was good experience.
yeah, financially do you get paid by the company you're working for or do you get paid by the temporary agency?
You get paid by the temp agency, and then they work
Okay.
out whatever deal they work out with the company.
With the
So
company. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because over at Haas, we have a lot of temp people, and I think that's how it goes.
Mhm.
And they're very in and out.
Yeah.
And they have like a different uniform, so it's very obvious that that they're a temp person.
Mhm.
But I don't deal with like the actual like manufacturing part
Yeah.
of the company. That's not my thing. I'm more in the like IT part
Yeah.
and supporting the computer systems kind of deal. So I don't do that much regarding like manufacturing, but like the manufacturing is like pretty cool stuff. The machines that we can do or that we can make is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Um,
right now, we're all social distance at the office and wearing
yeah,
masks, so I don't get to see manufacturing as much. But like
yeah,
when things were like before the virus and stuff, like it was cool because I would always just be running in and out of manufacturing because we're in a relatively small place.
hmm
It was just cool like seeing them like calibrate units or like build stuff from scratch. Working on whatever boards and cables.
yeah, yeah,
It's just really cool seeing that firsthand and
hmm
like getting knowledge about like sort of like production of production. Like, okay, we need
yeah,
to buy parts, we need to schedule this in, we have to get this order out by whatever day.
hmm
We're building this, but we also need to build this, so how do we fit that in the schedule? And it's cool stuff.
okay.
I like it.
Could you like? Do you feel like you could transfer to like another position within your company? Like, well, like let's say like you want to go into like engineering for some reason. Could you get that engineering experience from the current job?
In my specific role, probably not, like not
hmm
engineering, just because like you really need that technical background.
Yeah,
Like maybe if I had a slightly more technical degree, I could like maybe use that as leverage to like, hey, can I work with
yeah,
engineers
yeah.
more or
Kind of like
something?
kind of like finesse your way in.
Yeah, because like I kind of work with sales and stuff, and I do like
Mhm.
I don't really sell anything, but I make quotes and stuff for calibration and things
Yeah.
like that. So it's like I'm like a junior salesman, I guess you could say.
Mm.
But it's people requesting what they want. They're not asking me like, hey, sell me on this. They're like, no, I want this. Can you please give me the pricing for it? And I'm like, okay, I can do that. So it's like I think I could transition to other roles, but it's like, just dependent like what's available, what the company kind of needs.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like there's plenty of room for like growth and stuff inside the company. Like there are people, wearing different hats and doing multiple roles and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like band was a good environment to wear many hats.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was fun being like president and also like section leader,
Yeah.
Two pretty different roles, but they're still important to the overall band.
Yeah. Also, like fairly safe environment to do that in, because if you mess up, it's it might cause some drama, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like you're losing like money for the company.
Yeah,
You mess
everyone
up.
will get over it.
Yeah.
It's a very safe space to like to fail and learn from your failures.
Mhm.
See what works, see what doesn't.
Yep. Let's see. What other things that you have? Let me check what you wrote on
Yeah, let's see what I wrote.
for like
I
the
don't
other
remember.
miscellaneous topics, because I actually don't remember. Let's see. You put music improvement, anything really?
Oh yeah.
Music improvement.
Yeah, so like like just learning to play on with a teacher at Ventura College, like having those private lessons that really taught me like how to get good at an instrument, or like just how to learn something, because like you have to learn how to learn, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's honestly probably the most important part of high school and maybe
Yeah,
college. Learning how to learning to be adaptable to
yeah,
whatever scenario you're in.
yeah, because like it's like like you see it with competitive gaming. I remember we talked about it on
Yeah.
Twitter. It's like people complain about, oh, I'm not good at X thing. It's like, well, are you actually practicing? What are you
Yeah.
practicing? How do you practice? Are you analyzing videos of other people you like watching play? Like what are you actually doing? And it's like the answer is like no, 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 no.
Oh
People,
man, yeah. We could talk about competitive gaming, I guess. That's
because it's like I really like Smash Brothers and I like other fighting games as well. And it's like if you want to get good at a fighting game, people are like, oh, it's too hard. I can't do fighting game stuff. I don't understand it. And then like
Mhm.
they're like gold in League of Legends or something. And it's like, well, you obviously know how to be good at League. Like you could be good at a fighting game. It's just transition your thinking a little bit.
Yeah,
Like
like do you
you're
want to
gonna
put in the
suck at
energy?
first, but it's
Yeah,
well, you can get there if you really want it.
right.
And there are resources out there, like people will teach you. There are videos. You could even pay someone for lessons or something. It's like there are
Right.
so many ways to actually get good at something, but like a lot of people just
Mhm.
don't want to put in the work. And I think that's just true of life. Like
Yeah.
obviously you're
Yeah.
not going to have the opportunities, and you can try really hard, and maybe you'll never get the opportunity, or you'll never be the best at something, but like you can be not bad at something pretty easily.
Yeah, not bad. Yeah, that's my goal in life is to not be bad.
Yeah, like if you're like yeah, like for you, like if you wanted to be like a lot better at trumpet or the drums,
Yeah.
but you don't want to be a professional, like you could get really good at the trumpet or the drums.
Hmm.
You just have to put in the time and stuff, and it's like you may not be a professional, but it's like but you're having fun. Like who cares? Like like if you
Yeah,
set
yeah.
yourself a goal and you reach that goal, then that's good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of driving force is like just it being a fun
Yeah,
activity to do.
like over here, I got this last week. I got a bass.
Oh, cool.
I don't know how to play it yet because I don't have an amp
Yeah.
because the amp hasn't come in, but
Uh-huh.
it's like I want to learn something from scratch,
Hmm.
because like I just remember learning the trumpet, and that's just like a really fun experience, learning something that like you're passionate about,
Hmm.
like that can really drive you, like personally it drives me. Like I wouldn't say I have any specific one talent, but like I guess my talent is being like a generalist. Like I'm good at picking
Yeah.
up new skills.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily going to become the best, but I learn a lot faster than a lot of other people.
Right.
Which ultimately just means I plateau faster, but but it's
No,
fun. I
yeah,
like learning new.
it's fun because you can pick up things really fast and you can enjoy them because you reach a certain level of like I guess mastery of that thing. Um, so like you can enjoy it for what it is.
Hmm.
Um, Going back to the competitive gaming, I feel like with RTSs with since they're both like a one versus one aspect, Like it's a 1 versus 1. If you mess up, it's like it's on you. You can't really blame anyone. Some people blame balance for it and they're balance whining.
Yeah.
There's a character or hero that's overpowered.
Yep.
I'm sure you get that in a lot of fighting games. We get
Yep.
that in StarCraft,
Yep.
RTSs, MOBAs all the time. This hero's
It's
in
funny.
buff.
There are a lot of Melee players, like Super Smash Brothers Melee. Like they're
Yeah,
really big fans of StarCraft, like Brood
yeah,
Wars. They're people that play StarCraft and StarCraft 2. And then like there are certain people in the StarCraft scene that really appreciate Melee because they're just these both like weird, obscure, hard games.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
people at the top can appreciate one another.
yeah.
Like there are
Exactly.
Melee players on Evil Geniuses and Team Liquid and Cloud9, and there are
Yeah,
also StarCraft players, or there were StarCraft players at
yeah.
one
Rip.
point. Blizzard,
Rip
what are
the
you doing?
StarCraft.
Come on, Blizzard.
Yeah. Yeah, ever
But
since they merged with Activision, it's been nothing but bad with Blizzard. Um,
yeah, I have my MLG gunners. Blizzard bought
oh,
MLG.
nice. Yeah, yeah. I had Amaro bought me some of those like computer vision glasses. They're
Yeah,
supposed to help like with computer fatigue with your eyes.
yeah, I get
Um,
eye strain a lot. So whenever
yeah, me too.
I watch videos or playing games, I usually put them on. But I
Yeah.
look kind of like an asshole with them, so I usually don't wear them.
Do they
I'll put
work?
them on. I should wear them. They do work, but
Okay.
I don't wear them at work, even though I probably
Yeah.
should. I
Yeah.
have like a 3 monitor setup at work because I have a
Oh,
Surface and then
yes.
two monitors.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I should wear these, but I don't.
Yeah, yeah. When I first started working, my it was always my left eye. My left eye would twitch a lot. I wouldn't know
Yeah.
really why. And it might be because at my work setup I have my iMac in the middle, and then on my left side is my secondary screen, but it's set up vertically.
Hmm.
Because as a programmer, it's just you can see a lot more stuff if the
Yeah.
screen is vertically. Um, so it might have been from just the eye strain of like looking to the left all the time.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe because looking left all the time, that was causing me to not blink because I went to a optometrist and they um I asked her like, "Hey, why is my eye twitching like violently very randomly?"
Yeah.
And she was saying like, "Oh, it's probably because they're drying out and
Yeah, you need to blink more. Yeah,
you need to
I
blink
get
more."
that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
was like, "All right, you got to blink more or there's these eye drops that you can add, as a supplement to them."
Yeah. 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 And then it's like I have tech neck. It's like I'm hunched over.
Oh man, yeah, yeah, yeah. I try to combat that by like if you look at my room, I have a bunch of boxes that like elevate like laptops and iPads
Yeah.
so that I don't have to like, look down all the time.
Yep.
I bought this
Yeah.
goose neck to elevate my iPad at the
Oh yeah, I
eye
saw you
level.
posted that on your cool little arm
Yeah.
thingy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Like I have we have like the enclosure for like some of our fiber optic equipment at
Mhm.
work, and it's just like empty enclosures we have lying around, and it's like I put my monitor on top of them.
Okay,
to
yeah,
just
yeah,
our devices kind of look like VCRs or game consoles or
yeah.
like these rectangular kind of things.
Yeah,
So it's like, oh, it's easy for stacking on top of each other. That's kind of why they're
exactly.
built.
Hmm.
They're built for like bench top or like lab equipment stuff.
Hmm.
But it's like, oh, I have these extra ones. Let me just put my monitor on top. Now it's higher.
Oh yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then do you have like a nice office chair at work?
I do actually. I have a decent one. Yeah. I have
Uh,
like this. It's just like a big leather one. Nothing like. I don't think it's
oh,
any
okay.
fancy name brand, but yeah, I need a chair right now. Right now, I'm sitting in like a folding chair because
Oh yeah.
I have an office chair for my desk or whatever, but it
Mhm.
sucks. And it's like I don't want to buy a gaming chair because those are like I don't know,
They don't
kind of
work.
cringe, bro.
Kind of cringe.
Some of them are cool, but it's like they're just like kind of overpriced racing
Yeah,
chairs. Or whatever.
they're more like I feel like they're more aesthetically pleasing
Yeah,
versus like just being comfortable and being ergonomic because I feel like being an adult and working an office job, I feel like ergonomics is number one priority for sure. Since
yeah. I come
we're
home,
sitting.
my wrists are kind of messed up sometimes. It's
Yeah,
like,
wrists are messed up, back hurts, neck
yeah,
strained. Like I don't want to do this for the next like 40 years and then my back is just gone.
yeah. That's why on my breaks I go out for a walk now.
Yeah.
So it's like I have to get out of the office,
Yep.
get my body moving a little bit at least.
Yeah,
But it's like
exactly.
I'd like to buy one of those fancy like Herman Miller chairs or whatever, but they're
Oh,
like
yeah.
so pricey.
Yeah, they're
They're
so
so nice.
pricey.
And then they did like a gaming chair. They collaborated with some gaming chair company, so it's like a Herman Miller branded
Oh yeah, yeah.
gaming.
I saw. Yeah, Linus Tech Tips did a video on it. They have a collaboration with Logitech, and
Yeah,
so with I don't know if it was the Herman Miller, but it was one of their chairs, and it's basically the same chair, but they slapped the Logitech logo, like the Logitech G logo, on it, and they just added like blue trims. Like wow.
that's funny because
Yeah.
it's like Herman Miller or whatever. They make good chairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
but it's like I don't want to pay $800 or upwards of $800 for a chair.
Yeah, you might be paying extra money for that, that Logitech logo.
Yeah, even like a regular Herman Miller, they can run like pretty high, and it's like I don't want
Yeah.
to. I'm just too stingy. I don't want to spend more than like 150.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's $800, but is it $800 good versus like my $50, office chair?
Yeah, or it's like
Yeah.
even my $100 office chair.
Yeah, because you definitely get like diminishing returns,
Yeah,
with the more expensive products. But I don't know, it might be worth it if your back's hurting,
yeah.
because
My back, it's like I stretch it every now and then, but yeah, it's not giving me too many problems. But yeah, I could see that becoming an issue. So it's like
yeah.
got to do your hand stretches and
Yeah,
arm
hand
stretches.
stretches. Yeah,
Yeah,
and then
you play games with high APM. I play
oh
Melee, so
man,
it's like
yeah.
playing on the GameCube controller, the most unergonomic controller in existence.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
That's
sure
that's how fast I'm moving.
yeah, I'm sure with Melee there's a lot of APM with that.
Yeah, I
Um,
remember there's one player, Wizrobe. He was sponsored by
mhm.
like Fries at one point, which is really
Oh,
funny.
that's cool.
And I think he had like something ridiculous, like 500 APM or like whatever, like something like
Dang.
utterly ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, like if you're a pro, like whatever game you play, you have a lot of APM.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit ridiculous because there's at least in StarCraft 2, if you're playing Terran, which is like the human race, and you're playing Bio, which is like, so with Terran there's only really two army compositions you can make. There's Bio, which is like you're making Marines, and you're making things that heal Marines. So it's very like it's pretty self-explanatory. It's biological units, and then there's mechanical units, which is very like there's tanks, there's these things called Hellions, Vikings, which are like these air units that provide aerial support. And it's a lot less APM when you play mech because it's a very slow, methodical like composition. It's very like slow, but it's very scary.
Yeah,
Versus
yeah,
Bio, it's very fast and it's nimble, but it requires a ton of APM. So a lot of the Korean pro players, when the only pro players that have like wrist problems are like Terran players that play Bio because Bio is such it requires such high APM and they always have like these wrist problems.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. That Melee like
I don't know
they're
if Melee's like
like
that.
they're like space animals like Star Fox and
Oh,
Falco. Like they're arguably some of the best characters depending who you ask.
yeah,
But it's like to play them well, you have to like just play so fast and you have to have high APM.
yeah,
Whereas you could play a different character like Peach or Puff, and it's like they're good, still really good, but
mhm,
arguably not as like outwardly powerful. But you
right.
don't have to move as fast, but you have to do a lot of like good decision making and stuff.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
PM, it can be less, and you can still win even at a high level because of just your play style. But it's like, yeah, and it's like a lot of people who have hand problems are people that play Fox because if you want to play Fox well, you usually have to play him fast and hurts your hands.
yeah. Does Smash have that where there were some characters where it's more like mechanically demanding where you don't really need to care about the strategy
Hmm.
of or the tactics of the game. You just need to be mechanically good versus like characters
Yeah,
where you need to have like the strategy or else like
yeah.
you're just not gonna play that character very
So
well.
yeah, this is like a thing in fighting games in general, but it's
Mhm.
what you would call like a tech monster, where it's like
Yeah.
they just have really good execution.
Uh-huh.
So it's like they don't know how to play neutral game, which is like trying to figure out your opponent and seeing like, hey,
Mhm.
what are you going to do if I do this, or
Yeah, yeah.
if I don't do it, how are you going to react, or how will I react if you do this? That's neutral. It's like this very it's like kind of like a heady concept, but it's like, it's like having a conversation, but it's like, oh, you're weaving in and out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
there are people that like, are really bad at that, but like they just have really high execution, so it's like they can just run at you and just do a bunch of execution stuff, and it's like, but then like you do some mix up on them, and it's like, oh, they don't know how to. They're like a robot. They only know how to do like a couple of things.
Yeah.
It's like once you break their pattern, or you realize their pattern, it's like, oh, they don't know how to adapt, and then you just beat them.
Yeah.
But you can get to a certain point by having really good execution. Like you can become like a mid-level player just from having really good execution.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to be like a high-level player, you really have to know decision making and like adapting and watching your opponent and coming up with different strategies and things like that. It's like you can have all the best execution in the world, but like if you don't know how to like properly like time it and stuff, it's like, what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I mean, I guess like it's still hard to beat like a task bot or something, a tool assisted.
Yeah.
They have perfect execution, but it's like no one's going to be that good, like no one can have that perfect execution.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, yeah, you can definitely just like, yeah, I'm just going to run at you. I'm going to do like a multi-shine with Fox, and I'm just going to like infinitely stall at the ledge, and, and it's like blah blah blah, you're dead.
Yeah.
But then I just run up to you, and then I hit you once, and you don't know how to react, and then I win.
Are there AIs like in Smash that you can program?
Yeah, so there are like fan made like mods and stuff, and then like it's called like 20XX,
okay.
and like those computers, they have like high level tech skill basically. So they have high execution techniques that like a pro player can do. And it's like they're not really good for necessarily practicing. You want to practice against real people, but it's interesting to watch play. Like they can be a decent practice tool every now and then.
Yeah.
But it's like, but yeah, people have programmed like, here's a Martha or a Fox, and they just move so fast you can't touch them.
Oh man.
Like they're not modding the game, but they're just doing frame one reactions and frame one inputs. It's like inhuman response time, so it's like you can't hit them. And they just know how to kill you. But if you find like some weird error in their thing, and then you get them, and then they just kill themselves, and it's like, that's why you're a computer.
Yeah. Are there like adaptive AIs? Because I asked because in StarCraft a couple years ago there was this AI that was developed called Alpha Star. If you heard of AlphaGo, it's basically the same concept. So Alpha Star, it starts off like it doesn't know anything, but it's an AI that learns over time. So like the more games it played, the better it gets. So we just kept feeding it, a bunch of games, playing against pro players, playing against other AIs, and over time it gets like scary good. And because it's a computer, it basically has like infinite APM. So it's doing like these ungodly things. It's moving like ways that that's impossible to do, as a human.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like Smash has something like that.
I think there are people working on like fan projects like doing that stuff, like just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
But I know some older fighting games like Virtua Fighter, like some of the older entries, they had it built into the game adaptive AI. So it's cool. Like a certain kind of AI that would learn like your strategies. So if you beat them by just running up and doing like an uppercut or something over and over, eventually the next time you play that AI, you would try to run up and do the uppercut, and it would block you.
Yeah.
So it's like it would basically force you to come up with new strategies to beat it. And it's like it's not that stuff's kind of hard because, like you said, a computer can just have infinite APM and
basically,
reactions. So it's like it can be like a fun just like little test to do for yourself. But that stuff is cool. It's like it teaches you to be more creative and stuff.
Yeah, it's not really realistic to practice against because ideally, like let's say you're a pro player and your opponent. Like generally your opponent has a certain play style or a certain strategy, or they play a certain way where you can practice against that specific thing. But then you also get into this thing where like they also know your play style, so then you're doing like this kind of mind game where like should I play with their weaknesses, or should I play so that my weaknesses aren't exploited?
There's like this concept in Japanese, and it gets memed on in the FGC. It's like, reading the mind of the opponent. It's like, you're on Yomi layer 1. It's like, I know you're gonna do this, so I'm gonna do this, and then like Yomi layer 2, you know that I know that you're gonna do this, so you're gonna do this, and it's just kind of like a meme. But it's like that's kind of what neutral game is, you know. It's like
Yeah.
two players that know each other very well, even if
Mhm.
they play like weird races or weird classes in whatever games
Mhm.
or weird characters. It's like they could probably still have a really entertaining match, and
Yeah.
like they can go back and forth
Yeah.
because they know each other so well.
Hmm.
It's like, you know, someone can pick a low tier character and beat this other person with the high tier character because they just happen to know each other really well, you know.
Yeah.
Or it's like so and so never loses to X character because they have a practice partner that always plays X character, you know.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like stuff like that where it's like that's the fun of competitive stuff, you know. It's like
Yeah.
learning to adapt to different opponents and
Yeah.
learning to adapt to different situations and react. And that's what
Yeah.
separates like a good player from like a great player from a
Right.
pro player.
Right. I feel like as a pro player, I would have too much anxiety on performing really well because your performance dictates I feel like how well you do and basically your salary or like your financial side of being like a pro. Um, so I don't know if I could ever do that. Like they would
Yeah,
just
they even
be
have like esports psychologists and stuff because
yeah
it's
yeah
like players just get inside their own head so much, you know. It's like
yeah
a legitimate thing. Like they're a sports psychologist too, you know. It's like
yeah.
yeah, you have to treat your mind right too because it's like yeah, you can just make yourself play worse.
Hmm.
That's true of like anything in life. It's like your mind can be a scary thing, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, and it's crazy because a lot of the times it's all in your head.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, whenever I had anxiety playing the trumpet, like Mr. Drayton would call it like the demon inside. He's like, you can't let the demon win.
Yeah.
Because it's cause like, he had this joke about the trumpet where it's like one day you wake up, you play the trumpet, you win. Next day you wake up, you're not playing as well, the trumpet wins. This repeats, you die, the trumpet wins. He's like he would always say like this is like my Yamaha mouthpiece
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
box. Like, this is metal. You are flesh and skin. Metal will always beat skin.
Yeah.
So it's like, you have to like develop a practice routine. Develop a relationship with your instrument. And you just have to understand that sometimes like the complexity of the instrument is so where it's like just put it down, walk away. Take a break. Sleep on it.
Yeah.
Because your brain needs to sleep to process new
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, we're not
You-
machines.
yeah. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're metal or you're not metal. Your instrument's metal. It's gonna
Yeah.
beat you.
Oh, I never thought of it that way. Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's definitely days where I've had like there's a bad day as a trumpet player. It's like, dude, I can't play anything. I can't hit anything. Like it just sucks right now. But then there are those other days where it's just flawless. You can hit every note. You're playing all the licks. Everything's like going smoothly. Valves are not stuck. It's a great time.
Yeah, and it's like but you can't always be in the in your flow state or in the zone.
Yeah.
Because it's like play like that. It's like it's really taxing. After a certain period of time.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just not. But you want to put yourself in environments or create methods where you can get to that state more easily, and you don't have to think about as much as what you're doing, and you kind of rely on instinct to take over. Like there's this one book that's it's kind of a meme in like the Smash community, but
Oh,
like
yes.
I read it before, and it's called like the Inner Game of Tennis.
Mhm.
Because my grandpa had this book for a long time, and it's like about tennis playing, but really you can apply it to any sort of competitive or whatever endeavor you want to do.
Yeah.
It talks about just kind of like the psychology of playing and stuff.
Mhm.
But it's like, yeah, it's this book I actually Mr. Drayton recommended it to me, so it was really funny to see it become like a meme in like the fighting game community.
Mhm.
It's like you got to read the Inner Game of Tennis, bro. it'll fix your mentality.
Oh,
Because it is actually like a helpful book, and it talks about like letting your instincts take over, and it's like there are two sides, or like there's like two sides inside of you, and it's like
yeah.
there's like like your mind, and then there's like your actual talent, and it's like you can't like force your talent to come out. You have to like ease it to come out and stuff like that. It's like really interesting book, but yeah, I recommend it to anybody.
Interesting.
It's pretty cool for like music performance as well.
Yeah, it reminds me of a lot of like a lot of what Dr. K talks about. I don't know if you know Dr. K. He's kind of big. He's big in the like gaming community. He's a he's a psychiatrist.
Are they like Healthy Gamer GG
Yeah.
or something like that? Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about them recently. I was like, oh, this seems
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I stumbled upon him like recently, and he talks a lot about a lot of different things that as a gamer you don't really think about. So I don't know, like if you ever have time, look into him. He's like really like I think it's really just interesting. Like if you're really into like psychology and just mental health in general, um,
Yeah.
it's a he's a pretty cool resource.
Yeah, because it's like, sometimes you'll play ranked and it's like you just get nervous and it's like, why? How, like, I'm
Yeah,
alone in my room.
why? Yeah,
It's like, why am I getting nervous? Like,
yeah,
there are literally stakes aside from, oh, I went down a few points or something if you're
yeah.
playing ranked.
Right,
But it's like
right.
your mind perceives it as like an actual real danger because you're treating it
Yeah,
like that.
right. Yeah, yeah. That's just how we are as
Yeah.
like as humans.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just so funny that it's like perceived danger can become real danger to your body.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like your mind is like a powerful thing.
Yeah, and then you get into that issue where sometimes you're stuck in that state. Like you're just constantly stressed, for example, all the time. And we're like our bodies are not made to be stressed, over a long period of time. Maybe a short period of time, that's fine. But like
Yeah.
the cortisol is like, it can be pretty damaging to you
Yeah, and
over a
then
long period of time.
see, like, a therapist or a psychiatrist, and then you might need actual medication. And there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. It's
Yeah.
like, but it's like treated. It's better these days, but even still, it can be treated as like a stigma.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Especially men don't like to talk about their feelings a lot of the time and stuff. And
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
got to get better at that.
Yeah, exactly. Just as a society. And
Yeah, definitely.
yeah, and then I feel like gaming is like has a big stigma on it too as well. I mean, maybe a lot better than before, but I think it still has that stigma.
Yeah, it's
So.
like, oh, you're playing a game, and it's like, well, but people are meant to play things like
Yeah.
we play sports, we play board games, we play whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
as long as it's not like dictating your life, you're not like shushing aside actual responsibilities in favor of your game time. Like you
Yeah.
should be able to do whatever hobby you want.
Hmm.
Nobody should judge you for that.
Yeah.
If you're not hurting yourself and you're not hurting other people, it's like, who cares? Like
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Are there any other like topics that you wanna hit on, or any other questions you have for me, um, before we move on to the future goals part?
Yeah, I would say like maybe just like some light advice for the current class or whatever, or anybody
Oh, like yeah,
looking to
yeah,
get.
yeah. We can talk about that.
Yeah, like
Um,
it's just like find a teacher. Take your music studies really seriously, or even if like you're an alumni that like you put down your instrument or whatever, you want to learn a new instrument. It's like, yeah, like look online. Like there are plenty of resources, and like it's okay to suck. Like I remember when
yeah,
I was new to the trumpet, I was awful, and now I'm okay. And
yeah,
sometimes it takes time to get okay, but that's fine.
yeah. That's just for everything. Like we're all noobs at some point. Just like we're for everything, just for
Yeah,
anything.
I remember like learning, like teaching myself to play melee. Like I was awful at first. It's like I can't control my character. I can't
Yeah.
like execute anything right. It's like I feel like I'm so sluggish, and now I can
Hmm.
just like run around the stage and do kind of whatever. It's
Yeah.
like I don't have perfect execution, but it's like, yeah, you have to build yourself, like a daily practice routine or whatever practice routine. Then
Yeah.
set yourself like some realistic goals.
Yeah.
But
That's
it's like,
just for anything,
yeah,
really.
yeah, that's exactly right. Like that's like advice that like applies to just life. I think
Hmm.
that's cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Advice for maybe the current bandies. I would say let your I don't know, like your like care about the music first. For that's
Mm.
like the first and foremost thing. Care about the music, care about like the band um in terms of like musicianship, and I feel like that is like the big driving force for a lot of like your motivations. Like sometimes you don't even need motivation. Sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah,
You need to build that discipline. So like for those days where you don't feel like doing it, you're just in the habit of doing it just because it's a habit. It's like
yeah,
in your
like
blood at that point.
yeah, like even if you don't like you don't feel like practicing or something, like pick up your instrument for like at least 5 minutes or something, and then like just do whatever on it, and then like your mind will naturally like, oh, actually I want to do this, and then like
Yeah.
you'll just naturally find yourself practicing more, and then from there you can get more structured if you want, or if you just
Mhm.
want to take it easy for that day, it's like it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, musicianship should come first, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely.
Definitely this is for anything, but like the biggest thing is just getting started. So if you just force yourself to just start, like a lot of the times that's enough to get you going. Like, all right, I'm just gonna do this for 2 minutes. I I will guarantee you, like after those 2 minutes, you're probably gonna like want to keep going. Like,
Yeah, totally.
yeah, so like if you're doing that thing for 2 minutes and you just don't feel like doing it still, then just don't do it. But most of the time, you're gonna wanna keep keep doing it, whatever it is.
Yeah, like the other day, I didn't have my bass yet, but
Yeah,
I have this guitar that I just kind of inherited from a family member.
yeah,
And I was like, well, the first four strings are pretty much the bass's strings. So I was just
yeah.
kind of figuring out the fretboard.
Mhm,
And I was like, I was just kind of like planning to tune it and just get a feel for the fretboard. But then I
mhm.
just found myself, like, I can't really play guitar, but I was just noodling with different notes and playing stuff
Yeah,
on it. And I did that for like an hour, like half an hour. And it's like, that was fun.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like, I'm not a guitar player, but it was
yeah. Mhm.
still fun.
Yeah, yeah.
I gained something out of it. Yeah. And learn your major scales.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was honestly, I don't even know all my major scales, but it's something that I don't know if I had the time to do, I would.
Yeah.
It seems
I know
very
all of
useful.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Because if you just know, like, your major scales, then you can learn, major chords and stuff.
yeah,
Even just learn them on piano. Like, you don't need good
mhm,
piano technique, but just learn how to play them on piano or guitar or
yeah,
even your own if you're not comfortable with either of those. And then it's cool. And then you can see the relationship between, different notes and different scales and
mhm.
stuff. And cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Other advice, drum major specific advice. I don't know. I
Spicy.
feel like spicy. I I I feel like it's like you should have the same. Well, okay. First and foremost, as like a drum major, you need to keep your ego down. There's definitely like there's
Yeah.
that ego component where at least in our band, I don't know how it's like in other bands, but in like in CA band, since it's so student run, you have a lot of power and you can like Troll basically kind of lets you do whatever you want, which is kind of a good thing or bad thing, depending on the leadership. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, I think you have to keep your ego in check. I think two is that you kind of have to treat yourself as a regular band person. You're not any better than the section leader or like this freshman that just joined. You're just another random band person. And you just want to do good for the band, so to speak. And at least when I was in band, I was very like goal oriented. I didn't know how to reach that goal, but I was like, all right, we're gonna learn these 10 songs and we're gonna memorize them. That's just a random goal. I don't know if we're gonna hit it, but I let those goals kind of be the driving force for um, rehearsals or learning how to do something. Um,
Yeah. Mr. Drayton
yeah,
would always tell me, shoot for the stars, and you might land
yeah,
on the roof.
yeah,
But if you
yeah,
shoot for the roof, you land on your ass.
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah, so I feel like you gotta set goals because for me, I don't like doing things for the sake of doing things. I like to have some sort of thing at the end of the road, some goal at the very end, to achieve. So I would say like set a lot of goals and like be ambitious, but also be realistic too. Don't plan a trip to Germany. That's not well, depending on the band program. I don't
Yeah.
know. It really depends, but
Or if
that's not gonna happen with us.
yeah, you have to plan like a bunch of micro steps, micro goals,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
something that big. It's like, okay, well, first we should start, looking into fundraisers. Okay, now we have a
yep,
fundraiser. How much do we want to raise? Okay, let's try and raise this much, then this much, then this much, and then yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And
I
then
agree with all that.
yeah, yeah, and then also be like adaptable because I'm sure there's band problems that didn't exist, when we were in band that are
Yeah,
happening now that we don't have any experience, in that. So I think I think one thing like you gotta be adaptable for whatever situation and don't be so rigid. Um, because we have a certain experience in band and sometimes the alumni aren't the best resource for it since we have I guess the older way of thinking.
yeah. I remember one time like Lawrence was saying like, "Oh, we have to do it this way because it's a tradition," and then like I like
Yeah.
jokingly said like traditions are made to be broken, and he
Yeah.
just got like, upset about that. He wasn't like really upset. He was like, "No, They have to. It's
Yeah.
just funny.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, it's like don't do something the same way because that's how it's always been. If you want to do something differently, it's like you can question that. And maybe the
Yeah.
reason that the way it's done that way is because it is the best method. But experiment.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, don't force it upon everybody, especially if you're like the drum major.
Yeah. Yeah.
Consult leadership, consult the
Mhm.
section leaders. Ask Mr. Terrell and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Like,
I think at the very end of the day is just like care a lot about the band. And that will be like a foundation for everything else. If you don't care about the band, then like nothing else is gonna follow.
yeah,
You know?
the best decisions are made with like love at
Yeah,
heart.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go.
Like I loved my time in band, and
Yeah.
like that basically guided
Hmm.
my whole high school experience. Everything I did was I was like, all right, gotta do well in school because want to stay in band. Gotta
Yeah,
gotta do
exactly.
well.
Yeah.
The band sound good. Gotta play your part.
Yeah.
Like I was pretty salty at certain times, to play tuba, but it's like, well, but no one else plays tuba, so it's like okay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
now it's like I wish I was playing tuba.
Yeah, yeah. If you frame it like, oh, I gotta do this for the band, I might hate it, but as long as I'm doing it for the band, that's what matters. At the end of
Yeah,
the day.
if you're doing something for the band, you're really not having like that bad of a time.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like if you look
Yeah.
at it,
Hmm.
holistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not very actionable advice, but it's just more of like a mentality, like mindset, that you gotta have, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like every band class or whatever, every like class, graduating class, like they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. Like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
people before you have made it this far, you'll make it farther as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's no problem that's like insurmountable or whatever, or
Yeah, for sure.
like like you can rely on each other.
Mhm. Yeah, I just don't want like band members to start from square one every year. That would kind of suck.
Exactly. It's like that's the whole point of like being like learning history and stuff. It's like
Exactly. Yeah, history. That's where history comes in.
yeah, it's like you're not. It's like history doesn't repeat itself. People repeat themselves because they don't learn
Yep.
history. It's like there's like this quote attributed to Mark Twain. I don't
Mhm.
know if he actually said it, but it's like history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
Yeah, that's a good
So
quote.
it's like certain things happen, but it's like, well, but like, did you look at the past? Did you see what people
Mhm.
before you tried to do? Did you fall into the same mistakes?
Yeah.
Like, this is a weird example because they're both not great people, but it's like Napoleon failed to invade
Uh
Russia and Hitler failed to invade Russia. And it's like,
huh.
why did you try to invade Russia during the winter?
Yeah. Yeah. That's your problem.
And it's like, well, it was good for us because no one wants Hitler to win, but
Yeah.
but it's like Napoleon was right there, man. You could have learned.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't have to repeat the same mistakes as the past. You don't have to do it their way, but it can be good guidance.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What other advice? Um, I don't know.
Just have
Just have fun. Yeah, I was gonna say just have fun.
like even
Um,
if you're not gonna be like the best musician you'll be, like you can still have a lot of fun
yeah.
and make good memories, have friends.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it's really
Yeah.
important as a teenager.
Yeah, I'm very happy that with CI's band we didn't take everything too seriously. Cause I think if you take things too seriously, I think for certain things, there's like a good reason. Like let's say you're a band that's been to like the championship for a certain field show competition every year. That makes a lot of sense. But don't
Yeah,
just be strict and serious all the time for the sake of being serious all the time.
yeah. If you want to be
Yeah,
serious, then have like serious goals. Have
yeah,
stuff in mind. Yeah, don't be like a weird totalitarian dictator about it. It's
yeah.
like no,
Just for the
then
sake
no
of it.
one's gonna have fun, and then like you're
Yeah,
just making bad music at that point.
yeah,
If you want to be serious, that's good, but then just have
yeah,
goals that match that, and then work towards it. Like
yeah.
don't just do something for the sake of
Hmm.
doing it. Do it mindfully.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's all the advice I guess that I can think of
Yeah,
without
I just
any other input from the current bandies.
yeah learn different instruments. It can be fun.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. I picked up
I
the drums only because of Rock Band, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually really fun."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so like part of me wish I kind of did drumline back then.
Mm. Yeah, they always look like they were having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back and watch that Zandra episode when I find the
Yeah,
time.
I learned a lot about drumline, just the drumline history. I think like as um I like history, so hearing about, what happened in the past from someone else's perspective, way different from what I saw. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah,
this was going on."
historiography. That's like the history of
Yeah.
history,
Yeah.
where it's like you go to primary sources and you see how history happened and like how it changed over time, and
Yeah.
then like how it's observed by different people,
Mhm.
who were actually there, or from different accounts of historical records
Yeah.
of people from there. Yeah, yeah. Like I always really admired drumline. Like I always admired, like Zandro and Cassie and
Mhm.
Sophia, Marcel, Natasha, Tony. Like I always liked their different leaderships and stuff like that. So it was cool.
Yeah, yeah. They was like they were they knew when to be serious and they knew when to have fun.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
like you could always look over at drumline. They'd be doing their drumline stuff and being
Yeah.
real serious, and then you just see them having fun the next moment. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like, yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the good.
Yeah, and I learned like there's a reason for that. Just to give like a quick, summary of like the Zandra episode. Basically, drumline imploded and basically died because like the captain was being too serious
Yeah,
with things, and not a lot of people liked the captain, so a lot of people just quit because it
yeah,
was just being way too serious for the sake of being serious.
yeah,
And drumline, imploded and basically died. And then at some point, this is like my the tail end of my freshman year. That was when like Zandra was like, "All right, let's get the drumline back together." But we also need to reform, how drumline works, in terms of like I guess the structure of it.
yeah,
And here's also the very big thing, and I talk about it a lot with the Zandra episode, is that back when I was a freshman, the I felt like there was a big wall between
yeah,
drumline and band. Very big wall. Like we're very two different groups. But
yeah,
when Zandra and I took charge, we integrated that together. Um,
yeah. I remember that. Like you both had that specific goal in mind,
yeah,
because yeah, you guys would talk about that, how different it used to be.
yeah, we
Yeah,
didn't want that. So,
yeah,
and then ever since then, it's been pretty well integrated. So I'm very happy with that.
yeah.
Happy with that outcome. Anyways, let's move on to the future goals and where you see yourself. So I call these the 4 1s. So where do you see yourself in a week, a month, a year, a decade?
A week, same place. It's a Saturday. I'm chilling. I work Monday through Friday, so
Yeah,
chilling.
same. It's that corporate life.
Yeah. A month from now, what is that? That's like tail end of September, going into like October.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll probably still be in lockdown, unfortunately. So
Yeah. Who knows when we're gonna get, you know, uh, a vaccine
yeah,
and things getting back to normal.
hopefully a year from now it'll start to go back to normal.
Normal, yeah.
Because I'd like to do more music stuff. Like I was saying, we're trying to get something started. RJ and I, maybe Amaro as well. If anybody out there wants to do something, hit us up. We're always down.
Hmm.
So hopefully, yeah, a year from now, I'm not bad at bass guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be
There you
decent at it a year from now.
go. Hmm.
What's the other one? A year or what? After a year?
A year and
Decade.
a decade, yeah.
Ooh, a decade. Okay, so I'm 25 now, so I'll be
35.
35.
Oh man, that sounds so old, but
Yeah,
that's gonna go that's gonna hit us before we even know it. So
yeah, 35. I hope I'm not dead. That'd be
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Bane if I died. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I hope I have a house or something. Probably
okay,
not in California, the way climate change is going.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, hopefully, like I'm just happy and healthy in a decade. That's all I
yep,
really want. Happy and healthy, and then I hope my friends are happy and healthy, friends and family.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of all I want out of life. Like I
Hmm.
just want to have fun, live safely,
Hmm.
happily, help my friends and my family live safely and happily.
Hmm.
That's kind of all I want.
Yeah, and then the last question that I kind of added a couple podcasts ago is Like, do you have a ideal? So this is like your current thought, not your high school
Ah,
thought. Do you have like a idealistic version of yourself, and like what would that person look like?
yeah. So kind of like to what I was getting back at the beginning of the
Hmm.
thing, like there's your perceived version of yourself, of like
Yeah.
what you think of yourself, and then like how you think other people perceive you. I think for a long time when I was younger and in high school, I I wanted people to see me as like an icy kind of serious person,
Hmm.
with that exterior. But I don't know, if you get to talk to me, you get to know me, you kind of see that melt away pretty
Oh
quickly. Like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
you're just I'm just a big goofball. But yeah, I think my idealized self would be someone that's able to, sort of like kind of not pull that in the middle, but be more genuine, more authentic.
hmm.
Like, don't have to put up like a fake front for other people. Like,
Yeah,
just be yourself. And I don't know. I want to be somebody who's like more kind and caring and apathetic.
yeah, yeah. Empathy is a big thing.
Yeah, like I think that's like the most important thing. Like if you can find, that sort of inner peace, and then you help spread that to other people and share with other people,
Hmm.
and then use that to better yourself and like the world around you. You know,
Hmm.
yeah. I guess like my big overall dream is to make. I don't know how you get there, but I'd like to make the world a better place. By the time I'm
Yeah,
gone, just a
yeah,
little bit. I think that'd be awesome.
yeah. That was sort of my goal. Growing up, I want to make the world a better place, or make humanity advance further. Because I wanted, like, when I was growing up, I wanted to be an astronaut
Hmm.
because I thought like space was like the final frontier. Eventually our time on Earth is gonna be gone, but we can always like continue out into the ventures of space. These are my thoughts, as a child,
Yeah,
basically growing up.
pretty
Um,
philosophical.
yeah, very philosophical. So I was like, I want to be part of that like final frontier where we're exploring, other galaxies and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be awesome.
um,
I remember growing up as a kid, I would watch a lot of like PBS and the
mhm.
History Channel,
Yeah, yeah,
National
yeah,
Weather Channel, stuff with like my grandpa, and like I
yeah,
was just really interested in like history and the natural world.
yeah.
It's like I guess it's always been semi obvious. I guess that was a passion for me.
Hmm.
And then going into middle school, I took like social studies, in like seventh grade,
Hmm.
and then I remember learning about like Islam and like
Oh yeah, yeah,
Confucius,
yeah,
Taoism, and things like that, and
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
different religions of the world. And I was like, these aren't that different from each other. Like,
Yeah, actually, yeah, the
they have like different cultural ideas, and they worship things differently. But it's like, but you can see like a common thread in all of them. And it's like,
yep.
who cares what's right or wrong? It's like everyone's just kind of wanting to believe,
Hmm.
worship however they want to. And it's like, because I remember at that time, there was just a lot of like bad like Islamophobia in America at that time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's like, man, like Islamic people, Muslim people, like they're not that different. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I just remember being like really upset by that. It's like, why do we have to hate that? Like, it doesn't have to be
Hmm.
like we don't have to all hold hands and sing kumbaya, but it's like
Yeah,
it's fine. We can embrace our differences. Like certainly there are whatever political views that you might not agree with, but it's like
yeah,
I don't know. Like as people, like on an individual level, it's like we have a lot of work to do. I think at understanding each other, but it's
yeah.
like yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you get there, but like I'd like to make a better empathetic world more egalitarian.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I feel like the demonization of like the other side, whatever the other side is,
Yeah.
like I feel like that's a big problem, and it's crazy because a lot of the times the other side is also doing it, to the other side, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So it's just
Yeah.
like,
It's like people just perpetuate hate. Yeah.
yeah, it's just fostering this, I don't know, misunderstanding that, it's not really, you know, warranted. I think our energy could be funneled into more productive things. I don't
Yeah. And
know.
it's like America just has a history of that. It's like, we had the Chinese Exclusion Act at one point, and it's
Yeah.
like we
Oh
invited
man.
all the Chinese people here to build our railroads, and we're like, get out.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, obviously slavery and stuff with
Yeah.
the Native Americans is not good either. But it's
Right.
like, yeah, it's like I don't know, like what we don't need to hate each other.
Right. Yeah.
And easier said than done. But it's like I don't know. I think like people like we made the world we live in
Hmm.
like as it currently is, and not everybody in it had a say in that, obviously.
Yeah. Right.
But it's like, but people can have more of a say in it, and
Hmm.
it's like I don't know. We can make a better world.
Yeah.
You can't do it. No one person's gonna do it. No one country's gonna do it. But
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. We're kind of like straddling the line between like politics, which I don't want to get into, but well, this is a good point to end the podcast on.
yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So any shout outs you want to give, or where people can find you as we wrap up?
Yeah, you can find me. I guess I'm on Twitter, Paragon, Aragon. It just rhymes. That's the only
Yeah,
reason.
it's a cool name. Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's a word that rhymes with my last name. That's funny. I'm on Facebook too. Don't really do too much there. And then I've been told to shout out the line chat. I don't know what that means, but
You know exactly what it means. All right, Angel. It was good talking to you. Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast.
yeah, thanks for having me on. I think this is really awesome. Like I said, I've watched every episode except for the Zandra one, just because it's beefy
Oh
boy.
yeah, it's a thick boy. Yeah,
But
yeah.
this is really awesome. I
Yeah.
look forward to future episodes.
Yeah, there's a lot of like special episodes that I want to do that I'm still thinking of. I'm really looking forward to what I really want to do is interview people that are way older than me. That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Because, they I'm sure they have a very different perspective. Cuz it's been mostly people around like my age,
Yeah.
which
been a lot
is
of
fine.
podcasts.
Yeah, which is fine, but I want like people in their freaking 30s and 40s, like that would be interesting. That would
Yeah,
be
somebody
interesting.
who was who was directed by Mr. Ankles or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool to talk about. Yeah. All right, Angel, take care.
All right. Thanks everyone.
All right, see ya.
Boy.